Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Computer Game Show. It is the Game of the Year Draft 2021 episode. My name is David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello there.
Sean Bell.
Hello.
James Farley.
Hello.
Let's get going. It's big. It is big this week, and I can't believe how quickly it's come around.
I still don't really know what I'm doing.
Do you know, I've already changed mine while we were recording it.
Like, I've got a list,
Sean.
but half of them have basically got other people's names on them.
You reckon?
So, well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, listen, if this is your first year with us for Game of the Year, it's quite a big thing for us. We kind of go head first into it. The next episode will be our Game of the Year show, which means this episode is about picking 4 video games each for the Game of the Year, plus an extra wild card, which you will get to vote on. We'll explain that a little bit later in the show. Basically, this episode's going to go like this. Intro. Yeah, feedback, news, all the favourites, all your favourites.
All hits. Yeah.
What you've been playing, that's coming straight after
That's
the
good
news.
Yeah.
And then we'll be doing the draft. If we've got enough time, we'll do some questions at the end, but I highly doubt we'll have enough time. We'll soon find out. But there's only one way to start a show like this, isn't there? And that's to give a shout out to the greatest people in TCGS history, the Full Nels crew. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Tom S, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, Palliser Great Now, aka Gabby Pereira, Graham Mackay, Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Happy Birthday Sam, Love from Nil, aka Bitch in Sync, Grey Dragon Claw, Fred Fenge, and the Radio Anywhere and TLNA crew. They went full Nels. Thank you so much for going full Nels. You too can support us on Patreon by going to www.patreon.com/TCGS. There are different tiers, aren't there, Matt? Various different tiers.
So many tiers.
You can listen to bonus shows, you can watch live talks-overs, there's all sorts. So please go down to patreon.com/TCGS and support us with what we do, because it lets us do mad shit constantly. So thanks for that. Should we get to feedback? Well, before we get to feedback, I've only got one piece of feedback from last week's show. I wasn't here last week.
Oh, yeah.
It was good to hear Sean on the show. Not you, Sean.
I was going to say.
Sean.
Here every week. Thanks.
It's always a bit disappointing to hear you on the show, Sean. But the other Sean was good. I did have one comment, and it was down to a listener question, and I could not believe my ears when James gave the answer and Sean went, "Oh yeah, that's a good one." It blew my mind.
All right, go on.
If you were to get a Men in Black memory wipe, what game would you go back and play? And you genuinely would make it Animal Crossing, James?
I would, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
Despite the fact, well, there's several reasons why not. Firstly, we were all very disappointed while playing that game constantly. Secondly, right, none of your family would have already put in loads of hours. You would have been one of the only people to have started it. Like, you would have gone, "Oh man, I've just got the museum," and everyone around you would go,
"Yeah,
all right, welcome to 2020, mate. Welcome to 2020." And what was the final point? I can't remember the final point, but those 2 points are good enough to say that was a bad choice.
The whole the reason that getting a mind wipe and being able to redo Animal Crossing now would be good is that you wouldn't have the disappointment of like, "Oh, what the fuck, why aren't they supporting it?" Because you'd be able to just go straight in now with all the cool extra shit they have added.
Yeah, but the shop would still be the same, wouldn't it?
True.
Do you know what I mean?
What's going on about the shop? It's always about the shop.
Basics. You were the one going on about the shop, James.
I know.
You constantly went on about the shop. The shop got much bigger in this in previous games.
It did. They did upgrade it, and
it.
I am disappointed they didn't bother doing that. But there is new stuff in it, like regularly. There's too much content, if anything. It's
okay. Well, 2 years later, 2 years after the fact. Anyway, none of you said the ultimate answer to this, and that is Zelda Breath of the Wild, a game which is literally about discovery, finding things on the map, go and see it, and it blowing your mind. Like, it's just,
that's fair.
It's God, such a perfect choice. Anyway, that's the answer. That's the true answer. Animal Crossing was a terrible answer, James. I never want to hear you talk about that game again. That's your punishment for such a bad answer on that one, I'm afraid.
Well,
I thought it was a good answer.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Well, as long as you keep to the punishment, we'll all be all right. You won't feel the full
I'm putting it in
force
for Game of the
the
Year,
law.
so, seeing as there's been a substantial upgrade,
Let's find out. Let's find out a little bit later.
You can put that pack in, couldn't you? Expansion pack 2.0.
I mean, Happy Home Planet or whatever it's called is almost like a new game,
Happy Home Planet.
Hold on, you say that. Didn't you turn around and say, I did one of them and then just didn't bother again?
Well,
wasn't that you?
Maybe I've been playing it a lot more since then, David. You don't know.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He hasn't, has he?
Nah.
Have you, James?
No.
Has he?
No.
No, it's a triple bluff before the GOTY draft.
Great new stuff it's added. Oh, yeah, what is the Happy Home stuff like? Yeah, I did it once. It didn't bother. Should we get to... My feedback's not important, though, is it? It's all about our listeners. Let's hear what they've got to say, Matt.
Yes, let's start with Garrison Savannah. Thanks to James for his Guardians of the Galaxy feedback. This was a potential next game for me once I finished Deathloop and Baldur's Gate 3, and since some positivity on a game from James is the same as an old school Edge 10, I'm going for this. Plus it has Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue on the soundtrack, guaranteed to improve anything it's in.
Cool.
What a brilliant answer, James.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brilliant response there.
Is it me that's going to have to respond to that? I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be me. I mean...
Who else was supposed to... Wait, can you read the first
look,
sentence?
Fine. Okay, look, fine.
No. James, be quiet.
Let me
Matt,
just clarify.
read the first sentence of that bit of feedback.
Okay. Okay. Thanks to James for his Guardians of the Galaxy feedback.
Right, who was going to answer that then, James? Who else was going to answer that?
I don't know.
Can't believe Sean didn't say something. Oh no, wait, because it's thanks to James.
Yeah. Can we get that as a quote? Like, could someone make a mock-up? You know those things where it's got a quote underneath it, and it's just got quotes. Cool, James Farley, 2021.
Well done, Garrison Savannah. You have a great time with it. It's a very good game. There you go.
There you go.
You're being sarcastic.
Wow.
No, wasn't
No,
that?
he's not. That was genuine. That was genuine, Sean.
Yeah.
Sorry, it really takes a long time of knowing James to tell the difference between sarcasm and genuine, because you don't hear genuine that often, so it sort of catches you off guard.
I was going to say, but basically the message I think we're giving to the listeners here is that on the rare occasion that James does break out of his shell and actually heartily recommend something, don't actually act upon the recommendation because he fucking hates it. just leave it well alone.
I'll tell you what, it winds Chen up no end. I mean, she just thinks that everything I say is sarcasm. Like, she's just assuming it's sarcasm. It's
She just thinks everything I say is sarcasm. James, is this like the situation when I say, "Oh, James, yeah, you've been raving about this game. I'm going to buy it," and you go, "You text me, please don't play it." Is this like one of those situations, but for the audience?
Not at all. No, everyone should play this game. It's very good.
Again, sarcasm sounded like sarcasm.
It's not sarcasm.
No, not at all, David. I feel sorry for Chen. Right, next bit of feedback.
Back on the subject of that, though, there's not a day that goes by where I don't regret not buying it for 25 quid during Black Friday week. I'm thinking that it will go back to that kind of price around Christmas, or maybe I'm just being hopeful.
Because everyone started buying it again. That's the problem. It's absolutely fucked the rest of us. I feel sorry for Jo. I said to her, she said, I need something to get you for Christmas. I went, that Guardians of the Galaxy game, I want to play that, and it's like going for cheap. And she went, cheap? It's 50 quid. I went, nah, it's cheap somewhere.
That is
and then
cheap
that's
for
when I asked you
Sony.
guys, and they were like, that was Black Friday, that was it. I was like, oh, fuck.
I was hoping you were going to say, and then she came back with the Telltale one instead.
I thought she was going to come back with a movie. It's like,
10 quid.
I've got both of them. What's in both of them?
Yeah, almost definitely the Avengers game. Like, I can see that happening for sure. And not, but like, I'm almost certain that I'll play half of it and go, why was James liking this so much? Like, I don't get it. And then not realising that it was the wrong one.
Scripted, this is awful. This is not funny at all.
Game of the what? Right, let's go to the next one. Come on,
Okay,
mate.
My First Love has messaged, Dear TCGS codependents, love the show, listen every week, have done for over 3 years now. I've been meaning to ask, but didn't know how. I've recently been playing The Ascent and have been absolutely adoring the game. Then I thought, I don't recall TCGS ever speaking about the game, and I would argue it's a contender for Game of the Year. I went to YouTube, searched for the game as recommended by, they write here, Marvellous Mr. Matt Murray, found episode 263 and excitedly skipped to the Ascent discussion. But jeepers, Sean, my love, you made the game sound so boring. Your words seem to state that you were really enjoying it, but it unfortunately wasn't conveyed that way. And it's not the first game in which I've been like, come on! Anyway, my question, Sean, always appears to have been placed last in what you've been playing. Please can we mix it up? All the best to you for much love.
Is that true?
What I tend to be last?
I think, yeah, it's true. Sean does tend to be last. Yeah.
Oh, that's not intentional. I always try and mix it up, but why do I always leave Sean till last? Oh, sorry, man. That wasn't...
I've genuinely, I've never noticed.
Nor have I. Okay.
But, yeah, I think it's one of those things that maybe comes about because No, because this is going to sound like I'm bigging myself up as the alternative guy now.
Well, go on in.
But like, if there's a bigger release that most of you have played, I generally won't have. So you'll sort of.
That's it, isn't it? If a big game comes out, all of us jump onto it, and then Sean has got, Billy in the Sideways hat.
I've been playing Wiggly Squiggly this week.
The forgotten cards of yesteryear. Right, Sean, okay, right.
Great game.
Also, you can never let James go last because he'll either be pissed or too tired. There's one of the two there. So we always shift James forward a little bit. I think maybe it's subconscious.
I mean, as for The Ascent, I just had really, really mixed feelings about it, and I still do, and I never finished it because I had fundamentally I really enjoyed the shooting and stuff. I just felt like the RPG stuff was like way too light. There were some encounters that were just like far too hard unless you were playing in co-op. Maybe they've fixed that now, obviously going back months, but I don't know. Maybe I just didn't explain myself very well because there was stuff I did like and stuff I really didn't.
The fact that you're getting slagged off for a bit of podcasting you did about 6 months ago. Yeah, did I ever tell you my experience of The Ascent?
No.
This is not a reflection on the game at all, right? Obviously, but I went, do you know what? I'm going to give The Ascent a go because everyone says it looks really good, and it's sort of like a twin stick shooter, isn't it? So. Yeah. I'll give that a go. I booted it up. I lasted 3 minutes and went, I can't do this. And then I turned it off and uninstalled it again. And then I forgot it come out. So that was,
it's one of those
it was just, I was not in the mood for it. Yeah.
There was a bit of hype leading up to it and then it kind of came and went, unfortunately. I have wondered if I should go back to it because, as I say, they might have patched a few things that I didn't like because like the world building in general is incredible in it and stuff. But just sort of fell off the map, sadly.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I can't believe that's actually out this year. That feels about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
I said to people at work, this feels like it's been the quickest year of all time, but also the longest year of all time. Do you remember those first 3 months? Fucking hell, where every day felt like a week. Where every day felt like a week. It was
I love the Friends theme song. Rodders. Rodders has messaged us.
That's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah. About, you are clapping now, yeah?
Yeah.
German pizza, Rodders talks about. As a fellow Brit living in Germany, pepperoni are chickle... oh my God. Pepperoni are chickled...
Can I just say, before you continue, that opening sentence sounds like you're German, but pretending to be British. Because as a fellow Brit in Germany...
I'm definitely...
No one believes you, mate.
I bloody love tea. Okay, we'll start again. German pizza. As a fellow Brit living in Germany, pepperoni are pickled chili peppers and good. You need to ask for salami for your pizza. You will also need to go to a local shop and seek out a pasta pizza. Dr. Oetker do one. They're surprisingly okay, but at the same time, you'll understand why they aren't available anywhere else. Can hear the Italians scream as I type. The cabbage stay away from... Kohlrabi, horrible stuff. Get on the Knoppers bars. Best thing here. Appreciate your Merry Christmas. I didn't understand the last part of that.
I didn't get any
The
of
last
that.
50% is lost on me. But
Also, never take a dibble dob on a flute train.
was,
So a fellow Brit signing off.
There was another comment. I didn't include it, but it basically made the same point, but it was a bit arsey and basically saying, why does James not realise that different words mean different things in different countries?
Sorry, it's just when you see the word pepperoni and you think it's pepperoni, it's like...
Yeah, because I just wanted to step in and defend you on that point, because obviously it's an Italian word, right? So I would have thought that, we and Germany were going off the same
Italian
definition.
Word?
But
Definitely.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
But just because
that
it's
sounded like me there, Sean.
like an I at the end. Yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah, it did. You also have to remember that I'm a person that once ordered a Bovril in a cafe thinking it was a Breville toasted cheese sandwich. So, these mistakes can happen without even leaving the country. All right?
Okay,
so let's
right,
not have a go at James too much.
I've checked. It's a borrowing of pepperoni, the plural of pepperone, the Italian word for bell pepper. So the German use is more accurate. But yeah, so I can see why James assumed it was the same thing. But yeah.
But yeah, we received quite a few. I mean, I have now taken note of this. We had pizza this evening, actually, and I ordered it with salami, and it was fine.
Wait. Can I just ask that, James?
Go on.
How many pizzas did you order with the
exactly.
About 3 times.
Are you kidding me?
But then what was annoying about it, right, was it wasn't even for me. I don't even want it. It was Asher wanted it. And then every single time it turned up and he was really disappointed. The first time he was angry. Right. The third time he just looked at it and sighed and then just was like, I'm going to have to pick all these off.
I've got that's a child working out that it's probably best if they do it themselves in future. James, I've got more questions. The 3 times that you did it, was it from the same place?
Yes.
Oh my god! What?
Oh no!
Oh my god!
I thought they just made a mistake.
It couldn't possibly be that you made a mistake
3 times.
Did you start thinking, like, if I just order one of everything from the menu and then make notes?
Yeah, one of them's going to be right.
Oh, my head's just caved in. I can't stop laughing.
I just imagine that. Opening up the box. Oh, they've made a mistake there. Next time, opening up a box. Okay, they've made the same mistake.
What a bunch of amateurs.
That's a bit annoying because no one wants this. Third time going, am I... Is it me that's the problem?
What an embarrassing pizza establishment, making the same mistake 3 times. What idiots.
Anyway, we got it right today, which was good. It's
cool.
So
you had
fine.
the salami on that pizza, did you?
Yeah, it's fine. But also,
pepperoni.
he's right about the Noppers bars. They are amazing. They're very good. Yeah.
Oh, good. You like a bit of the old Nopper, do you?
I do like some Noppers bars. They're pretty
Big
good.
Nops.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to call me boy then. I do like some Noppers, boy.
I mean, what are Noppers bars, James?
I'll bring some back. They're kind of like chocolate in wafers. It's really good. I'll bring some back actually and send to you.
Would you say, take a break, take a Nopper? Is that the sort of thing we're talking here, James?
Not really. No. It's not like a Kit Kat at all. No.
No, this is chocolate in wafers rather than wafer in chocolate.
Wait, hold on. How do you put the chocolate in wafer?
I don't know. I don't work for Nopper.
There's a wafer with a bit of chocolate in it.
Just Google it. You'll see what I mean.
Fuck off. We're doing a podcast. Stop telling people to Google it. I'm not asking for me.
Either way, they're very good.
Just because I looked up the pepperoni thing. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah. That's what he's doing now, isn't it? Oh, just Google it if you're so special. If you know what you're doing, just Google it, Dave. You wanted a Kit Kat, you got a Nopper. What an idiot.
I'll tell you what, though, I do quite enjoy ordering stuff here because obviously I can't read the menu, so I do just take a chance on stuff. Just like order whatever, and then sometimes
I never want to do that ever in my life. I never want to do that. No, I want to know exactly what I'm getting.
She absolutely hates it when I do it because stuff turns up and then she's like, I really hate this. Like, why have you ordered
exactly,
this?
What a waste. What a waste. You can't spin the wheel on dinner.
No,
that's not how it works.
James just loves ordering anything, all these things on the menu. I don't know what any of them are, apart from that one time he ordered 3 pizzas from the same establishment just to make sure.
Well, I was just thinking, they're going to get it right one time, aren't they? It's going to...
They did.
All 3 times. The right fucking thing. Let's move on.
Yes, the Space Harrier. This is a bit of an odd request, but can James please start his Fantasy Zone segment with the phrase, "Welcome to my Fantasy Zone, get ready," from now on? Thanks.
Go on.
Probably not. I mean, I don't even know if there's going to be any more of them, to be honest, because, I mean, they've been a dead loss, haven't they, recently?
Yeah, it's been sulking about this, haven't you?
No, I love them, James.
What are you talking about?
No, because come on, it was okay. Last week we had a whole bunch of stuff for the Game Awards. None of them were right. Like none of them were right.
Yeah,
and
but that's part of the fantasy zone, man. We're living in a fantasy.
But it's not,
Yeah,
though,
it's
is it?
exactly.
Because then you have a go at me about it, and it's
Fucking
just like,
is.
what's the
Oh,
point?
just take it on the chin. Look, come on, James. Come on, don't ditch the
Well, I'm not
fantasy
doing
zone.
another
It's
one
my
this week
favourite.
because I can't be bothered.
Why not?
Because I can't be
Fuck
bothered. That's
you.
why.
James, are you not
alright,
doing this
fair
one because we're not doing also one next week?
Yeah.
Really, it's your
I
last
mean,
one
if
of
you
the
want,
year.
James,
You should
if
squeeze
you
one in,
want,
really.
I'll do you a deal, but it's not really a deal. It's just me doing you a favour.
Ooh.
Maybe I'll cash it in next week. Who knows? I think it was. I think it was Rex Reese on Twitter was saying after the whole Halo campaign being split up into chunks thing, he said he really enjoyed Bell's bullshit arena. and I half joked about. And I mean, well, yeah, I've got an idea for a theme. So, I mean, do you want? Should we? Maybe that's how we do it. You do the news, and then
James.
if I've got any bullshit,
James. Sean's trying to steal your shit, man.
I know he
I'm
is,
not.
yeah.
Are you going to let him?
He doesn't-
Yeah, getting on your
I'm not
zone.
stealing it.
I'm not.
James
Yeah,
has
that's
already kicked it. It's
literally
literally
what
been
you were doing.
outside his house. He doesn't want it.
Yeah, but then it's my
Yeah, I know.
choice as to whether I kill it or not. You know, it's like
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm just saying. There's
not-
your way out, mate. If you want it.
Mate, Sean,
What?
James, Matt, Graham.
Fucking hell. Graham, man.
No, James, you got to think about this. If you kill it, we might end up in Bell's bullshit arena. Just have a little think about whether you want to kill it or not, right?
I mean, have a think about whether or not you're basically forced to live in Bell's bullshit arena every day of your lives. That's
Good point.
very much a constant menace.
I do need a theme for that. Actually.
Yeah, we all follow you on Twitter.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
No, James, can you at least give us, have one go at the whole Welcome to My Fantasy Zone get ready?
maybe when I do it next time. We'll see.
Well, how about
No,
now?
we should at least.
No, because it sounds like something weird that somebody's trying to get me to say for some reason. I'm a bit wary about that.
James, if people wanted to
What do you
make
mean?
it, if people wanted to take stuff from this show to make it sound like you were weird, it's too late.
It wouldn't be a lot of work.
Yeah.
How dare you, Sean? That's, you know.
Right, Bitter Toad. All right, lads. I was in the office the other day setting up an edit suite. I work in film marketing, which, contrary to popular belief, absolutely is in the film industry. Anyway, I was plugging everything in when my manager asked me a fairly inane question, and I replied as follows. Well, we weren't planning for that in the beginning. I paused as a smile spread across my face. I then, in my biggest, most TCGS manner, looked at my manager and shouted, "In the beginning!" It was at this point, given the blank, confused look on his face, I remember that In the Beginning isn't from a piece of worldwide popular pop culture, or pop culture, like Star Wars or the Shake and Vac ads, but is, in fact, from my favourite British video game podcast, TCGS. The office sat in complete, confused silence, and I mumbled my way through the rest of the conversation with neither of us referencing what had happened. Cheers, Bitter Toad.
Amazing.
Oh, I wish, like, I wish your manager turned around and went, smash. right back at you and gave you a little wink. Just say it's not a next gen console. I think we can all agree that we're there. And then you shook hands and went along your way. That's brilliant. I love that. That's probably my favourite thing to do on the podcast. And James, what annoyed me is that we did it so often that James got wise to it and then stopped saying the beginning.
I try so hard now not to say it. It's horrible.
But the problem is, James,
say what?
annoys me is you've done the worst possible thing you could do because it winds me up saying chronic. You've just changed it to at the beginning. And it's like, but shouting at the beginning is not as funny.
No, at the start,
yeah, or
yeah.
at the start. It's so fucking frustrating. Proper cock tease.
Yeah, James, do you record with a thesaurus in front of you now? Just all the various different kind of connotations of In the Beginning. So I'm not
I've got a
using
list.
that.
I've got a big list right here. Just keep
probably
pulling
like-
them out. You know.
Next time we do a talks over, we'll just pan James's camera around, and the wall that he looks at will be like a serial killer's, like just scrawls everywhere.
Yeah,
Don't say
like
in the
that.
beginning. Don't say in the beginning.
Yeah,
Just over and over again.
Written, yeah, and he's written it on the back wall as well. But there's a mirror just above his screen, so you can see it. He's written backwards.
It's all backwards. Yeah.
Fucking back wall. Go on, let's go.
Russell Hobb has messaged, "Gentlemen, during your discussion regarding jousting, I was amazed."
That was great. I love that bit.
Brilliant. For new listeners popping into this one. So yeah, we had a massive discussion on jousting. I was amazed and surprised that James didn't think of using his curtain pole as a lance. This would certainly be longer than a mop.
It took him 3 months to put it up. He's not going to take it down.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Although I've still got one. To do.
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah.
How many rooms have got them now? How many have you put up?
Okay, let me just count. 1, 2. Okay, 3 rooms. I got them. I got 1 left to do. And
okay, that's not bad.
It's good as well. I'm pretty pleased. Do you know I had an amazing night's sleep the other day, where it was just amazing. Like wake up in the morning, the room's still dark. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that happens when you put curtains up. Also, what's the situation with the light in the bathroom?
That's still not working.
Oh, for God's sake!
But James, that'd be a lovely Christmas present for Chen.
No, what? To kill the romance, Matt?
Oh, good point.
That's a lovely Christmas present, is it?
Where are my manners? God. Maybe say it for Boxing Day.
That would be funny, though. Merry Christmas, Chen. And then you just hear a light click, and then all the fuses blow.
Yeah, and all the curtain poles burst.
She mentioned it the other day, actually, because we were talking about, all the stuff we've done since we've been here, and she just said, "Yeah, the lights still don't work in the toilet, though, does it?" I was like, "Yeah."
So that is so fucking romantic in here.
It's when it's misty. It's good.
Yeah.
Right, okay, come on.
This will certainly be longer than a mop or vacuum cleaner extension, a key advantage in a joust, and it is likely easily accessible, as given it took 2 months to put up, it's unlikely he secured it to the rod holder properly.
It's secure, boy. It's secure, boy.
In my highlight of the year for sure.
I mean, yeah, because what's good about the curtain poles, obviously most of them extend, don't they? So you can actually keep it at like a certain length, for travel. And then once the joust happens, you just
whip it out.
Yeah, like one of those lightsabers,
those toy
lightsabers, like that, whip it out.
Yeah, but if you hit, the problem is, if you're holding that,
that's
and
true.
You hit them with
it's just going to retract.
It's just going to retract.
Like one of those toy knives.
So like toy knives. Yeah, it's absolutely pointless. So think about that, James, before you go jousting, yeah?
Okay, yeah, I'll try and remember that.
James, am I allowed to ask which room it is that the curtain is not currently up?
It's in Ash's bedroom.
Poor Asher.
Well, if anyone was wondering who James loves the least out of his family.
Wow.
No, okay, I was going to put it up, and then I started doing the drilling, but they were having German lessons, and then Chen went crazy and said, "You can't do that now, it's making too much noise." So,
So you thought the rest of the days are right off?
Okay, James, just want to clarify. It's taking you 3 months to put up a curtain pole, and the time you think is a good time to put up is when they're having a German lesson in the room, and then you're like, "Actually, you can't do that, so I'm not doing it ever again." Goodbye.
Ash is sitting in his illuminated room at 6 a.m, eating cold pepper pizza.
He gets up early anyway. He doesn't notice. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh, poor Ash. Anyway, last one, Luke Summerhays. Hi, lads. Just catching up on the ghost hunting with the Happy Mondays stream. And you're talking about doing a most haunted of your own. You should contact Shepton Mallet Prison. It used to be a maximum security prison and is considered pretty haunted. The Krays were kept there. Some American GIs were executed there, all sorts. It's been closed for a while, but they do charity stuff and events still. I did a 24-hour sponsored stay a while back, and it was a little spooky. Anyway, I'll be dead keen to watch it. From Luke Summerhays.
I ain't doing that. No, it was a funny thing to say at the time. I ain't doing that.
I've just checked, and so they do guided and self-guided tours.
They also do escape rooms as well.
Do they? Holy fuck.
Well, we can combine two of our plans.
They also do adult theme nights where you can say whatever the hell you want. So maybe we should go on one of those nights.
How many of these fuckers still here?
James, what are you looking forward to? What interests you about going on a ghost tour?
It's the ghosts.
Right, okay. So the line was, it's interesting.
I know.
Okay, that's fine. Is that it for the feedback, Matt?
Yes. If you want to leave us feedback, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS.
I mean, just quickly. So you mentioned that we executed American GIs there. What
what
business did we have
No, he
executing
said
American
some
soldiers.
American GIs were executed. I'm not sure who did it.
I don't
Okay.
think the question
Yeah,
is
but
who did it, Matt. I
executed-
think it's where did it.
Executed
Is what
suggests
Sean
like
was-
by the state, does it not? Doesn't just mean they were killed.
I mean, I'm not going to question Luke Summerhays. You'd be mad
I'm gonna have to look into this. You've sent us down a rabbit hole here, Luke.
Oh, it's true. No, it
okay.
did happen. Yeah, I just I looked.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's move on to the news.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the Game Awards. That happened. I mean, I didn't watch it. Did anyone watch it?
I skipped through
I
it.
watched bits of it.
Yeah.
I watched bits of it. I woke up. Charlie woke up at like 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning or whatever, and I watched a bit of it. You know,
I did not watch it live.
We're not the sort of podcast that's going to rip into Jeff Keighley or anything, but
Are we not?
there is one thing that I wish someone would just grab hold of him, put your arm around him, and go, "Listen, Jeff, everything you've done is about 8 hours too long, mate. Just calm it, just shorten it." Just shorten all of this, and it will be a lot more entertaining. But other than that, I mean, you know, well, it's the Game Awards, isn't it?
Was it
we're
really
used to it
4
by now.
hours long, or was that?
Well, there was the
exaggerating?
problem is that it's the they do a lot of pre-show stuff as well, don't they? And
Right.
they plug the pre-show, so it really does feel like the pre-show is actually a huge part of the show because they even announce awards
Yeah.
in the pre-show. You know,
So how is it a
winners in
pre-show
that
then?
as well. So.
It's like
I don't know, James. I'm not part of their team. I don't know if
No,
I
if
mentioned
this
that. I'm
was
not
on
involved.
at a sensible time for us over here, I probably would have watched it, but I wasn't going to watch it at 1 o'clock in the morning. But I
I don't
have
know. I
watched
like
all
the-
the trailers since. I watched every
I like
single
the
watched
one.
idea
all of
of
Yeah, they were all. I found like a rock paper shotgun, and I just thought, "Fuck it, I'll watch all of them," because I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about. And actually, I think there was loads of really, really good trailers. If that show was just a show with, you know, it's like a standing on a conference, like an E3 show, that would be a really, really good E3. I think.
well, that's all anyone's really there for, isn't there? I mean, people are not really there for the awards. I don't think people really.
I
care
don't
that
know.
much.
I think maybe we're not there for the awards, but I think some people are. Well, so let's start with the awards then, James. Is there anything that sticks out?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of them. So I've selected a few because I'm not sitting here reading like who's the esports winner and all that sort of stuff because I don't want to do that.
Because you don't know.
So the Game of the Year award that went to It Takes Two. That won
I
that.
don't want to build up to that. Straight in with that. I think that was a pretty cool shout. And Joseph Ferris' speech at the end there was really quite good. You know,
Yeah.
clearly really excited, and you know, said some nice things. And that I'm happy for him because that game, I think, after A Way Out, that was the most mind blowing thing about It Takes Two. You know, we played A Way Out, which was some, you know, relatively decent ideas, but horrifically piled together.
Yeah.
And then It Takes Two comes out, and it is like fucking super high quality in every regard.
Yeah, so many
apart
ideas.
from maybe the narrative, but really good game. So yeah, I was glad he won it in the end.
Yeah.
Or that studio won it, because even like, I mean, yeah, that studio won it. It sounds well bad to say, well done, Joseph Ferris, when it was like, you know, God knows how many people actually worked on that game. But okay, so that was Game of the Year. Good shout.
Then we had Best Game Direction.
What does that mean?
Well, it's like, you know,
The director
coherent
of the
vision
game?
and all that kind of thing. Like, you know, whether it's,
Is it, or is it like best sort of like use of cinematics? I don't really. God, what
I
were the
don't think so.
nominees? Were they? Or what? Well, just say what
Okay.
won it, I suppose. Just
So
fucking-
the nominees were
Yeah.
It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Deathloop.
okay.
Okay. All right, so best AAA game. Okay, go on.
So the winner was Deathloop. That won that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, it's definitely not a cinematics thing.
It's what a weird, yeah, it's a bit of a weird category, isn't it?
Mm.
So, and the best direction goes to Deathloop. Okay, why? Oh, direction and that. And what?
Well, I mean,
just
obviously, game
direction.
direction is a thing. Like, you know, obviously, game director is a title, but it's
Well, yeah, of course.
I
Obviously,
think it's
yeah.
like it's coherence of vision, isn't it? And it's
Yeah,
like
it's
something that's been put together.
It's like
That's
cinematography and like the world
Yeah, but you're all saying
building.
different things. This is what I'm talking about. It's a fucking mess. Get rid of that, Jeff. Get rid of that
No, it's
category, mate.
I'm with James. It's the coherence of vision thing. I think more than anything
Yeah,
else.
it's everything coming together.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I think
everything,
Deathloop's a
Dave.
strong
There you
one
go.
for
It's
that.
not loads of different things. It's everything. That's completely
Okay.
different.
Okay. But yeah, and then game of the it's weird. It's a weird one. Okay, go on.
Then there's another one was Best Narrative.
Mhm.
And
I got that.
do you want to know who the nominees were?
Yes, please.
Yeah, because this weirded me out. I remember being angry at this category.
Okay, so the nominees were Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange, True Colours.
Right, I'll stop you there. It Takes Two should not be on that. I love that game. I think it's fucking fantastic. Best narrative? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But okay, go on.
Then Life is Strange, True Colours, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Guardians won this one, didn't it?
It did, yeah. That one.
Yeah,
the one, the best narrative, which I think is deserved because it was excellent. But yeah,
that's
did
awesome.
not experience that. There was a lot of people tweeting like cutscenes. I didn't watch them because I want to play the game, but there's a lot of people tweeting cutscenes from that game and saying that look,
this is why
all you people taking the piss out of that win, like it's genuinely good.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was like, what am I doing? Like, I
didn't even touch it.
I mean, this is what's been really frustrating because I've really wanted to talk about like, a lot of this with you guys, but I can't because you haven't played it. It's a bit frustrating, but never mind.
Right.
You let me down. Next was Best Art Direction. And again, do you want the nominees?
Yeah, this is another one that pissed me off. Go on.
Okay, so Deathloop, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and The Artful Escape.
Okay, right. In my opinion, if I was doing it, and I know it's all subjective, The Artful Escape should absolutely win this, like beyond any shadow of a doubt.
I mean,
go on.
You know what I'm like? I'd probably Psychonauts 2 would be up there as well for me, but
yeah, I mean, Psychonauts 2 would definitely be up there because it looked incredible despite looking so garish. You know what I mean? Like it was weird, their style, but it really worked. I think that would have got like a runner-up for me.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know any of his winners, but I think, Deathloop's got a really cohesive style.
Yeah,
so
but it's not. Yeah, but in terms of art direction, you don't like. I didn't look at that game and think, "Oh my god, they're doing something completely unique here."
Yeah.
Or
no, but I think it's really cohesive. It felt really solid. I think they nailed the kind of retro futurism vibe. I thought. All the environments look fantastic.
I would put that felt more like an atmospheric thing than an art direction. Like it, honestly, when I looked at that game, I didn't look at it and go, "Wow, look how stunning this thing is." Like that's not what I got from it. But all subjective. Who won it?
It was won by Deathloop.
Like that's fucking mental. Like the Artful Escape, I just think is so unique looking, and so mind blowing. With how unique it is, that I'm very surprised.
There's never been a game where I've taken so many screenshots and then just been like, I can't show anyone these because it'll spoil it.
Well, it spoils it, and also it will like make no sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to see that game running and experience it. Like it's
and obviously and experiencing it alongside the music and the narrative and everything. It's all part of it, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah. Okay.
Then the other one I picked out was Best Indie Game. So these are the nominees. We had Loop Hero, Inscription, Death's Door, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, and 12 Minutes.
Okay, right. I don't know the winner, but if 12 Minutes wins this, that is an absolute travesty.
It's mad that 12 Minutes is up for that nomination. It was a terrible game.
It was awful.
I think I know what won this one. Was it Kenna, Bridge of Spirits?
It was, yeah. Yeah, that one.
I didn't know it was an indie game.
Because, I didn't think...
See, it's weird because I've heard good things about it. Like I've heard people saying it's a good game, but not like Death's Door good.
But I like it's more that it wasn't that like heavily published and pushed from Sony, which would make it surprising that it was considered an indie game. But then I suppose if it's an independent studio, then it counts.
Well, Death's Door was pushed pretty heavily by Microsoft as well, wasn't it? And 12 Minutes, as part of like Game Pass and everything.
I mean, the whole was it? I mean, indie's been blurred for a while now, right? I mean, Devolver went on the stock market and got valued at like $1 billion or whatever. So I think do you know what I mean? Everything's weird now in terms of what is or isn't indie, which to me sort of makes this category a weird one anyway. Like, are we not at the point where we shouldn't
supposed
need...
to expose?
Yeah.
The whole point was to expose like very small studios that would otherwise struggle to get their game name out there and stuff like that.
Whereas you've got a lot of games that were in other categories anyway, and rightly so.
Yeah.
But,
Hang on. Death's Door, did that actually come out on Game Pass? I'm wrong about that.
No, it wasn't Game Pass.
No, it didn't come on Game Pass. No.
It wasn't on Game Pass.
I just paid money for it. Ugh.
Yeah. It's worth it, though.
That's a joke.
No, it was exclusive to Xbox for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But that was
like
literally
3 months, maybe.
Didn't they say like, oh yeah, we tried Sony and Nintendo and they just weren't asked, or basically?
Yeah,
like,
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
It only came out on
It was
PS4
only on there for,
like
like-
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, it did eventually come, but it wasn't like a deal with Xbox or anything. It was just
Is it out on Switch as well?
yes, I think so. Yeah,
I wonder how that plays. All right, okay.
And they're the only ones I've selected for this because honestly, there's like tons of them, and so I thought these were the most interesting ones.
Awards are all subjective. I mean, it is disappointing seeing sort of Game of the Year and seeing like none, like most of them were like AAA games that you kind of think, okay, where's the justification of this placing Game of the Year? Like Resident Evil, for example, that was nominated for Game of the Year, wasn't it?
I mean, the Game of the Year ones, the nominations. I mean, it's all the ones we've just been talking about, apart from Resident Evil as well, which I wouldn't place that up there at all.
Yeah, it was a strange one, but whatever. Awards are awards. They're really, really good for the people that win them, and
shit for the
completely
ones
pointless for the people. Yeah, I just don't feel it's like you can't beat yourself up about it if you don't get one. But I suppose,
I mean,
if you're not getting that prize and that stage, then that's the real quiz, isn't it?
I mean, and I saw like a few people tweeting saying like, look, more than any other awards, Game Awards is probably going off ad spend and stuff like, so it's probably not worth getting upset about. But yeah, still, as someone who really likes games and wants the right ones to be highlighted, and this is certainly an opportunity, for that to happen. And yeah, of course, it is a bit annoying, but whatever.
And we all saw that article flying around about how the video game awards are offensive to the term video game awards and the argument was that, it's more of a marketing exercise and all this. And I just kind of think, well, I mean, if you want that big stage with that huge presence and everything, I'm sure without knowing the business side of it, there's a lot of money that they have to make to be able to put on that show. It's not like other award ceremonies where they can get two insanely big sponsors that sort of just bankroll the whole thing. And not only that, it's nice to have another event that shows you new stuff, and that's what this did. I mean, granted, I didn't sit and watch it. I went and caught up on the news and watched those trailers back, but with those trailers have come out, towards the end of the year, there's not much going on. So what were the trailers? What were the big ones they showed off, James?
Yeah, so we're not going to go through every single one because there's lots, but I mean, I've highlighted a couple here.
There was a ton of indie games, right, that looked incredible, looked genuinely brilliant, but for the life of me, won't remember them. I can't remember the titles or anything.
As I said, I watched every one, and I wrote down a bunch of really good-looking indies. We'll go through this list and talk about them after, maybe.
Okay, so the ones I've got here are all like big stuff. So we had Star Wars Eclipse, which is the Quantic Dream.
This made me laugh.
Why did it make you laugh?
Because we were talking just a few weeks ago, discussing whether David Cage will be handed Yoda. And it is quite clear that he has been handed Yoda.
Yeah, he's in the trailer, isn't he?
Yoda.
This is the thing. Nobody's really sure.
It's set in that era, right?
Well, this is set in the High Republic era, which is like, I can't remember how far back, but it's at least like 900 years like before the original trilogy that came out. Yeah. So it's a bit like, and Yoda says in Return of the Jedi, like, we're 900 years old I am, all that sort of stuff. So like whether it actually is
his famous line.
Dave,
at 900 years old I am.
Dave, which stage of grief do you think James is at the moment? Is this denial or bargaining? I can't tell.
No, I mean, years old I am.
If it is Yoda, then actually I'd be all in favour of that because I want to see whatever Cage is going to do with him. I think would be quite funny. But
I mean, there's definitely a line about creature there, wasn't there?
I'm almost certain there'll be a line about vaccinations in there. You know what I mean? Or like a sort of a parody, or like what is it called? Like a like a reference to some sort of
can you imagine if there's like a pandemic or something like through the galaxy?
God, that's run through his mind at the very least.
But like Disney have to sign off on this. It's not going to be as easy as David Cage doing David Cage.
Well, fingers crossed.
They have to sign off on everything, so. He won't have as much control as he would do for one of his standard games.
It's great, isn't it? That David Cage is the one person where you're like, please, corporate overlords, control every creative urge he has.
But also that doesn't guarantee quality either, like from Disney. You know, because not everything they've done has been
also,
very good.
we should say we're taking the piss, but we should say it was a fucking good trailer. Like it was.
Oh, it was.
It was a good trailer, but it didn't.
Awesome.
But it told us nothing at all about what the game is or anything.
No, but it's the first time we'd seen it.
Haven't they suggested it's still like 3 to 4 years off as well?
Yeah.
So,
right,
never
okay.
mind, eh?
So we got a
I'm
while.
disappointed that he wasn't in the trailer himself. You know,
He probably was somewhere. He, just,
he will be. You know he's going to be a Jedi when he turns up. Like he'll be the key to everything.
Oh god, it's probably the main character.
I don't know. Let's see how that
Yeah,
goes.
I can't wait. I mean, the trailer looked great. I have liked Quantum Dream's previous games, so yeah, it's interesting regardless.
It must be nice being you sometimes, Matt. I'm just sitting there like, we've all been slagging him off, and I was like, oh no, Matt genuinely likes him and Star Wars. This must be brilliant. Like this is just exciting news for you.
I've enjoyed their games.
Whereas me and James are like, this is like splitting our heads down the middle. Like we just can't fucking deal with it. Whereas to you, it's just not complicated at all.
No,
I'm honestly jealous.
I've liked their previous games. Let's see what happens.
Go on, Matt.
Much better place to be.
All right. Next.
Okay, then Alan Wake 2, that was shown off.
Yeah. So I've seen people trying to figure this out. Was this the two and a half years in the making reveal? Like, yeah,
because there was no Nintendo stuff there, was there at all? Like,
no,
I don't think at
now
this
you
thing.
mention it. Yeah.
I mean, there's games on Switch, but yeah, there's no Nintendo pop-up games.
Did Nintendo still make games?
I don't think they do, mate.
Very quietly and very slowly.
They're just thinking about how they can fuck us on subscriptions further than they already have. Alan Wake, never a big fan. Whatever. Let's see how that comes out. Okay.
Then we had Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. There was a trailer
this
for that.
looked fantastic.
This looked horrible. Like it looks. Yeah,
grim,
visually
yeah,
it looked very grim.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quite curious to see where it goes.
Those games are grim, aren't they? They're very dark games. Have you played any of them, James?
There's
I've not
one,
played
isn't
the first one, no, because I keep meaning to, but I've never got around to it.
Well, have you not played the second? There's two of them, isn't there?
Is there?
No, this is the second one.
Yeah, this is Hellblade 2.
Oh, the second one didn't come out.
This is the second one, David.
Was there something sacrifice?
That was the first one.
Senua's Sacrifice was the first one.
That's the first one. So then I'm sure there was a second one announced. This isn't an.
This is
like,
Senua's Saga
is it?
Hellblade 2.
This
Right,
is that
okay.
sequel.
Yeah, but have they announced this previously?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
On
Okay. So
Xbox shows.
yeah, I must have assumed it had come out then. Shit. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the trailer looked fantastic, and I think this is like another Unreal Engine 5 game. I didn't play the original or the previous game, but I heard it was really fantastic, really impressive, especially the stuff they did with audio and whatnot. So this looks really good.
Okay.
I thought it looked horrific, but in a probably in a good way.
Oh yeah,
if you know
like it's
what I mean.
absolutely meant to be.
Probably.
Yeah.
Then they showed a trailer for the Halo TV show.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Yeah, I completely missed this. I was sort of skimming through it and looking for interesting trailers, but I must have.
There wasn't enough of a
What was that
tease,
like?
really. You didn't really see much. But
Okay, fair enough.
You saw Master Chief.
Did they do that thing where it sort of like zoomed into like one of the famous weapons or a banshee or something?
No, but they did do him like.
Like, fuck's sake. I've got a like always helmet or some shit. I don't know. They always do that stuff.
They
with
did do the
iconic
helmet.
things.
Yeah, they went for that.
yeah, it did the
They
helmet.
did the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the quality of Paramount Plus content is like.
Not great, Matt. Not great.
I mean, is that all that Star Trek shit was on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. If this was a Netflix show or Prime, I would be like, okay, there's obviously potential for much more quality given the stuff I've done previously, but I don't know what Paramount have really done. But yeah, who knows? I mean, the chance of this being good are not
Who
high.
gives a fuck about the Halo story though? Like it's like I like the Uncharted stuff. I can wrap my head around and go, oh yeah, I could see how that could be turned into something. But like the Halo story, oh, let's go to the library. Oh, the flood.
I mean, the Halo story is fucking bobbins, isn't it? Like, because I considered like reading up on it all before playing Infinite, and I was just
We're
like,
going to make people so angry.
Yep. Why
people get so angry?
Why
when
upset?
you say this.
Why upset myself? I don't.
Exactly.
Because I'm still like,
do you reckon there's going to be a bit?
This is where I am with like Halo lore, right? And not to skip ahead. Obviously, we'll talk about Infinite in a bit. But I'm playing Infinite, and they're like, "Oh, this is another Spartan." And I'm like, "I wasn't Master Chief the last one. I thought that was the whole Was that ever a thing? Have I made that up?
It was in the first game,
Right.
but then it's ever since the first
But
game.
it turned out to not be true.
Yeah, it's fucking loads of them.
Amazing.
You can't
that
move
was
for
Star
them.
Wars as well, wasn't it? There was only supposed to be one Jedi, and then they found a load of them, didn't they?
Yeah,
Same
copy.
thing. Is there going to be a bit in this TV show where there's two Spartans fighting a bunch of aliens? One of them dies, and the other one has to run and hide behind a rock for like 20 seconds for them to respawn. Is that? I mean, that's my favourite memory of that. Okay, let's go.
Yeah,
a little bit of a gag.
I mean, that is
I don't
apparently...
give a fuck about the story, but I
Sorry.
just want to see that kind of stuff in a real live action series.
It
So
didn't
let's
look
see how
very
it
good.
goes.
Sorry, but it didn't. But anyway, then we had Sonic Frontiers. There was a trailer for that.
I thought the Sonic stuff in this was good.
Yeah.
And I know it's the Sonic cycle, but they showed the movie. I know you get into that, but let's start with that because I think they showed that first, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
The movie trailer I thought looked surprisingly good.
Yeah,
I didn't
I thought it was
expect we liked the first one, and I just assumed the second one was going to be just a huge pile of shit, but it actually looked pretty good.
I'll tell you what I like
So,
is it looks like they're leaning into the Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic 3 story as well. You know, with like Knuckles being on Robotnik's side and all that kind of stuff.
On the other side and stuff. But at the moment Knuckles turned up in that, I was like, yes, mate. You know what I mean? I didn't think I'd give a shit. And seeing like Tails in that little aeroplane, I was like, yes, I'm all
awesome.
for this. I'm all for it. And it seems like they are just going, right, action films. These are going to be action films. They're going to be like, the Marvel films, but just like sort of toned down a little bit for kids. I think that's the way they're going with
action
it.
films with
I'm
a bit
all
of Jim
for it.
Carrey in it. I mean,
Why not?
that's all I want. I want more Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey.
I'm glad
in
he's
movies.
back. I was kind of surprised that he was back. I just thought, I know why you'd do the first one. I can't imagine why you'd do another. But there he is again.
Well, I
and
guess
he's got that
for everyone,
moustache.
it was a surprise hit. So, and
Yep.
it just allows him to be the Jim Carrey we kind of know and love and haven't seen for a long time. So,
I mean, it's got to be easy money for him.
Somebody
surely.
stop me! Smoking. Sonic Frontiers also looked like an open world Sonic game, and that also looked all right.
I'll tell you
Actually,
what was
as a
interesting about that
concept.
is, as a concept, I looked at that and I thought this actually looks like this could be something interesting. Actually, like if it is
Could
like
be.
a kind of an open world, sort of adventure kind of game, in a completely open world. But then also, it said it was coming out like on basically everything. And you look at it, and you're thinking, "There's no way the Switch is doing this." Like,
what happened, James? It was a CGI trailer.
well, yeah.
Was that how do you know if it can or can't do it?
What do you mean?
No, but that's a proof of concept, isn't
Yeah,
it?
if that's like
what
if
they
that's
were
like
showing
target
was a load of
footage, then
yeah. It's like that was the sort of things that were going on. It's not necessarily like what it looks like, but there was like things shooting down at him and it beat huge explosions and all this sort of stuff. And I thought,
And just
okay,
the scale as well.
The scale was shown. See, this is the problem. We can't be positive about this game without thinking of the Sonic cycle. For those of you that don't know, the Sonic cycle is, that Sonic game looks good.
Maybe this will be
going to
good.
release a good Sonic game.
It's going to be good again. Yeah.
Sonic's back. Oh no, it's shit. Oh, they've announced another one. Shit, this looks good. That's the Sonic cycle. And we're at the start of that.
I thought
so let's
that
see how
trailer
pans
was
out.
pretty joyless, actually.
Really?
I'm obviously interested in what it could be, and open world Sonic, that sounds like it could be interesting, but there was no kind of real big bangs in that trailer. It was just, I don't know. The trailer did nothing for me. It didn't really evoke any kind of emotion more than just the idea of what it could be.
It's just interesting because it's like Sega still haven't figured out how to do a good 3D Sonic game, right? I don't think that's a controversial statement. And I don't know, there was something about the scale of this that made me feel like it might work, because that's how, like, some of the better sort of fan-made ones, you can get like downloads on PC or whatever, people have sort of attempted to do like their own sort of homebrew Sonic games, and they often like the good 3D ones are very sort of like, there's like really sort of heavy momentum, but these like huge like worlds for you to run and jump around, and it looks like it was kind of leaning towards that, but I mean, who knows?
The other thing that I've always felt is weird with these 3D Sonic games is, you see, they seem to have taken the wrong... I know the whole marketing thing for Sonic is he's fast, but that's the biggest problem with the 3D games. It just doesn't work like in 3D at all. Whereas
absolutely. If you take a look at, say, Bowser's Fury, where it's pockets of levels, and traversal is with Blessy or whatever that dinosaur's called. If you take that and put that in Sonic, and you've got these levels in an open world, but the traversal is him just running really fast. But he's only running really fast when he's going from one place to the next, if you know what I mean. That makes more sense. He doesn't always need to run fast, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Or if he...
Maybe sometimes he can slow it down.
Yeah, or if he is always going to go fast, then everything's got to be massive. That's just...
yeah.
But eventually you are going to slow down, and then that means you're going to have players stopping and looking at things that 99% of players are just going to run past. And then you've got like a weird development issue, haven't you, and where to put your resources, and it's a weird one.
Yeah.
Okay, then there's also Slitterhead, which is from the guy who did the first, what's it called? Silent Hill? Yeah.
Silent Hill.
And this is a new... No, it's not Silent Hill, obviously, it's something completely new. But the trailer was very strange, obviously, as you'd expect. Yeah.
Hasn't it? It's got Akira Yamaoka doing the soundtrack as well, hasn't it? So that's a big win.
Looks spooky.
Was this looked like it might be more of an action game, or potentially like a co-op thing? I wasn't really clear.
It certainly looked like more of an action game, didn't it? Because it wasn't really playing for like creepy scares or anything. It was just gore. It looked like, which is fine.
Which is fine, according to James. He loves a bit of gore, that boy. Yeah, go on.
Then, I mean, this is just one I was interested in. There's Star Trek Resurgence.
I was about to say, how has this slipped in?
No, I was just interested in this because this is like, it's Telltale Games doing this, and it's like a adventure Star Trek game, and they don't ever there hasn't been one for such a long time, so... I think this could be quite interesting.
Well, it's like VR one, isn't
we've had like so many Star Trek games that are like strategy games or shooters or whatever, and it's like, no, the good bits of Star Trek are fucking conversations and difficult choices and stuff. So yes, oh my god, Telltale doing one of those, brilliant.
Yeah, as you said, Sean, it's like they always try and sort of shoehorn in the wrong kind of game style, really, for what the series is. And it's like, this is the first time since, going back, there was 25th Anniversary and Judgment Rights and stuff like that, which did the same sort of thing, but that was back on the PC in the 90s, where there was like adventure games, and they were really good. They were like excellent. But I'm quite looking forward to this. It looked like it could be good.
But...
And then also, there was The Expanse. Which is being made by Deck 9 in association with Telltale Games, which is...
Telltale and Deck 9 together.
I was fucking shrieking when I saw this. So this was... I stayed up a bit too late just by accident, and then this was quite early in the show, wasn't it? So this was like the only bit of news I saw, and I was just like, what the fuck? I was, very excited.
You sent me a message, I got I picked up my phone and all I could see was James in like capitals. And normally when it's that, it's because I've done something. And, usually it's David and it's because I've said something or done something or whatever. But this was this was for a good thing. So, brilliant.
You just remind me of the time when we were talking about HDR on TV, and you said that you're only doing this because you haven't got HDR on your TV, and you said, no, I never said that, and then I found the clip where you actually said it.
So,
James,
Sean,
every time.
I haven't seen Expanse, so I did try, but I just stopped after like 2 episodes. But that character in the trailer, is that like, are they from the series, or are they like...
She is,
Okay, they are.
And
she's a major character from the series.
She's like probably my favourite character in the series as well, so the fact that this is based on her... So this is based on her exploits prior to the series as well, from what I can tell. So it might be an interesting way in if you want to try again. Like you should, it's probably the best.
I really wanted to. Everyone said it's so good, and then Joe and I started watching it, the first 2 episodes like this... It's a bit
slow to begin with. There's a lot of world building, and
it's slow to begin with. Also, the production values are poor for the first series. Yeah. But it gets much better later because obviously Amazon then bought it and then put some money behind it, and it's much better than it was.
We started trying to watch that when we were watching Game of Thrones, and it was like watching Game of Thrones like Red Dwarf for me. I was like, this is a joke.
Yeah, the budget really wasn't.
I do kind of want to
there.
try because everyone said it's so good. But.
Yeah, to begin with. I did eventually get new into it, but that was after, again, so we did the same thing. We started trying to watch it together. She wasn't really fussed, and I carried on my own. And then I think it was when season 4 was about to start, and I was like, right, there's no getting around this. This is a new series of this TV show is going to start, and I sort of need you to watch it with me because it's going to be the fucking best thing ever. And so we then went from the start, and it meant for those first couple of episodes, I was able to not to be like an annoying nerd, but just sort of contextualize things a bit and like, right, this is why this kind of makes sense, and this is, because there's just so much world building in that sort of first series that it's like it's so much to take in, and so much of it you can sort of miss and what have you. So that's
There's
sort of
also
really worked.
stuff that's not so interesting either. Like the proto-matter stuff, I didn't really find terribly interesting. It's the politics stuff that I thought was really good throughout the whole
that's sort
thing.
of what's so interesting about it, isn't it? Is that the immediate sort of like big sci-fi thing in it isn't actually the most, or it is important, but only in terms of the fucking bickering it causes around it, and that's why it's an interesting show. But yeah,
Okay.
But yeah, so that's going to be good. And then we got a release date for Tunic as well.
Yeah,
which
finally.
I haven't written down. Is it March next year?
Is it March the 15th? Mid-March, anyway. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I've been following it it's been years this has been in development, because it's literally just one guy making it. This is, for those who aren't aware, you've probably seen footage of it at some point. It's the sort of cute sort of 3D or sort of isometric Zelda alike, with like a little fox as the main character. Just really gorgeous visuals and soundtrack. And I mean, there's been a couple of demos which have been weirdly really difficult, which was a bit of a shock. I don't know if that's something that's carried into the main game or if it was just something they did for the demo. But yeah, really good. Really excited about this one.
Yeah, look gorgeous.
Cool. All right.
And that's it. So, Matt, what indie stuff did you see that was good?
So, Planet of Luna. I think this might have been announced previously, but I think the big thing, and I didn't write down the person's name, but I think the big thing was that it's got someone doing the soundtrack who's really well respected. Sean, does that ring a bell?
No, sorry. And I did see the trailer as well, so maybe I just didn't recognize
but the trailer,
great trailer.
I thought it just looked absolutely gorgeous. The trailer is of some someone on this like weird kind of spider bike thing going across this desert. Something else attacks them, and it looks very much like kind of a bright version of Inside. I felt it can't, and that crossed with like, is it Sable? Game? Yeah. Anyway, that looked really nice. I thought Arc Raiders was another one that looked gorgeous. This was less of an indie, but it's basically kind of it's a big co-op shooter, but all the environments were big, nice, bright outdoor environments. It looked absolutely stunning in terms of graphically as well. I'm not sure. I think that's from a studio who's done something previously. I can't remember what. But Arc Raiders looked really good. Plague Tale Requiem looked absolutely stunning. Yeah. I can't wait for that. I mean, I love the first one.
Was that because I never played the first one? I know I should. It's on Game Pass and it's like the enhanced version and everything. Am I right in thinking there was like zero combat in the first one?
There was. The only real combat was basically you directing the rats and you affecting other things in the environment.
Okay, because it looked like now the player character is actually taking people on and battering them and stuff. Was that
it looks like a bit more? Yeah, I mean, there was like lots of you basically used other things in the environment and the rats to do the combat versus instead of you yourself. But I thought that looked absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I also think Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice Squad looked like immensely fun.
Yeah, it really did.
Immensely fun. So yeah, that's another one that's good.
Also, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who's going to care, but the fact we're getting Space Marine 2 was a big deal.
Yeah, that was a really good trailer, except I haven't played the first, don't know anything about it, but it's a good trailer.
Well, it's basically, it's one of those like 7 out of 10s that just like a few people are like, holy fuck, remember Space Marine, what a good game. And we were supposed to get a sequel, but there was I can't remember. It was some legal bullshit around. I think the publisher lost the license, and the developer still wanted to do it, but they couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't make it work. But yeah, the first one it's just a really good sort of shooter / melee game. Like it's just really good fun. Like I know a load of people who are now replaying it because they're excited about the new one. So yeah, I'm
cool.
keen.
The last game was Have a Nice Death, which it's kind of like a grayscale kind of, so black, whites, greys, etc. Side-scrolling game. I think one of the descriptions said if it was Hollow Knight, but as a roguelike. It looked really, really fantastic.
Okay. Well, I missed this.
I mean, I saw what the bosses in there. But quite fast combat. So that looks like one to look out for as well.
Am I right in thinking that James actually hated that when you said that description of it then? James?
I'm not terribly bothered.
Yeah, oh really? Okay. I just think one of your describing a game as one of your favourites, but as a roguelike. I just imagine I felt the force then. I felt the James Farley force where it had just shifted for a moment. Okay, you're denying it, but I think I'm right.
Yeah. So that was the Game Awards, and I'm sure it'll be back next year, and probably it'll still be 4 hours, but there is some interesting stuff that comes out of it, and so it's good.
For sure.
Okay, some other bits and pieces that have happened this week. The creator of the NES and the Super NES, Masayo Umeru, has died. He was 78. He began working on the Famicom in 1981, and he also worked on the Super NES and the NES Zapper, and he produced Ice Climbers and the NES sports games.
It's funny, isn't it? I was going to say, we often... we know, I know that, there's been this thing for years now of why don't people know the names of more game developers? But actually, we know even fewer names of hardware developers and people who actually build the machines. Sure. And I'm fully guilty of that. This isn't me being smug or anything. Yeah, but it's a huge shame. Wasn't a NES guy at the time. But the SNES was a hugely formative thing for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, regardless, it's somewhat of a legend in the industry, isn't it? It is those consoles change the face of the industry. So, always sad to hear about these things for sure.
Okay, I've got 2 bits of Halo Infinite related stuff. The first one is about 343 have warned people not to quick resume the campaign if you're collecting the armor.
Really?
Yeah, if you're collecting the armor cosmetics. The reason is because if your Xbox loses connection with the Halo servers and you collect the cosmetics, they don't show up in your multiplayer inventory later.
Okay.
But apparently they're working on a fix for this. They said the safest thing is to end your game in the session or whatever, and then restart again, I guess.
Is that in-game stuff?
What do you mean?
Is that... Do you do that just throughout the campaign? Because I don't think I've come across any collectibles like that.
Have you not? They're all over the map. It's
there's loads of lockers.
there's lockers where they're just they're all over the place.
So you have to,
lockers where you can.
But you have to go out of your way to get them. It's not just you completed a chapter. Here's a helmet. It's
no. You have to find them.
Cool.
It's because there's a whole bunch. We're going to get into this, but there's a whole bunch of collectibles in the game, and this is one of them. It unlocks them for the multiplayer.
I would just like to turn off quick resume for the entire game because not just campaign, but for multiplayer as well. Now,
it just doesn't work in multiplayer.
It's no point me just going back into it because I'll say I'm offline. There's no way to there's no reconnect button, so I end up just quitting the game and then restarting it anyway. And I can remove it from quick resume, but I don't think that's a permanent thing. So
they've got to find a way of games that are connected to a server quickly recognizing they're no longer connected because it's a previous session, and then quickly connecting back.
Yeah, because quick resume is brilliant.
Forza struggles with it here and there, and there's a few games that struggle with that. But quick resumes, amazing. I've been using it for the campaign, and I've really appreciated it because you just boot it back up again, and you're exactly where you were before. It's perfect for that. Which is what quick resume is, David. So don't sound like it's
quick resume for kind of only single player games is fantastic, but for these live games where you are constantly connected to servers, it's just a bit.
They'll work annoying. Something out. They'll iron that stuff out.
Yeah, they said 343 said they're already working on a fix, to sort it out. And if you've collected these and they're not showing up, they probably will do it after the fix has come out.
Probably.
It's
that's what you want to hear, isn't it?
Yeah. So then the other piece was that Halo Infinite apparently was supposed to be significantly bigger than it is. So this was according to Bloomberg. So Jason Schreier's written a whole piece that came out in the print version of Bloomberg material, and apparently it was originally the idea was that it was going to be like Breath of the Wild. It was going to be an absolutely gigantic, huge open world. But then they had to scale it back significantly because they were having a lot of technical problems with the tool set that they were using, which is called Faber. And apparently they considered switching to Unreal. It didn't happen, but they were thinking, we need to scrap this and sort of start again and do that. But they didn't. And originally, apparently, the multiplayer was going to launch in 2019 and the campaign last year in 2020. But I'm sure that I feel after playing this, you really get the impression of that. Because one of the complaints there's been about the game is that there's not that many environments. Probably there were going to be a lot more, I'd imagine.
Right.
I think this stuff's going to get added later. Like, I think they're just going to keep iterating on this. I think,
right.
Yeah,
I've got an opinion of that, but we'll save that for later, I think.
but you can certainly see like the Breath of the Wild kind of like influence in this game, like massively.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it gets it right in a lot of ways. It gets it wrong in quite a few ways as well.
Really?
But,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, I mean, it doesn't feel like Breath of the Wild in that you can just stumble across these amazing moments. I've not seen any of that. Everything I've stumbled across has kind of been just a group of enemies and nothing more. Whereas Breath of the Wild seemed to have a lot more.
There's not,
and
there's not a lot of whimsy there, is there? Of like,
No, and you there's no whimsy. The other thing with Breath of the Wild is that the more you discovered, the more it was about. For me, anyway, it was about finding these weapons that were incredible that I could keep onto for a long period of time. But in this, it kind of does feel that battle rifle, isn't it? And I know they've got some modified weapons in there. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of those. I mean, I've played this a lot over the last couple of days. So
I mean, shall we just get into it? Might as well.
Let's just get into it. Let me start with that point that I was going to make, because why I decided to delay it is beyond me. So the main antagonist in this game, right? I don't know if that he or that character remains the main bad guy of the game throughout or not. But the moment I saw him and his speeches, and the more I see of him, I think, oh, this is just a little minor bad boss that they're gonna release like the DLCs and stuff, or put more into the campaign with bigger bosses. Like it reminds me a bit of Destiny. You know, when you played a first Destiny release, and you've got a bad guy to try and kill, but the bad guy you're trying to kill is a bit like. Yeah. Okay. And it's not until the later expansion packs that you go, okay, now we're talking. Like that's what like this character feels like. But let's start with this. How much time have we all put into it? Matt?
I sadly barely any. I'm up on the surface. I've done like the mission after you go up on the surface.
Tower mission, yeah?
Yeah, that's about it. I think we might mention this on last week's show, but I was like, James, like, maybe I'll just pull all-nighters. Maybe I'll just get it done before, the game of the year. How good would that be? But then we obviously heard that it's actually not the same standard kind of 8 to 10 hour length of a Halo game. And then, we've done loads of TCGS stuff in last week. We've had our Christmas parties, other things. I just haven't had the time.
Whoa. Not a TCGS Christmas party. It sounded like we had a TCGS Christmas party. There was no TCGS Christmas party.
We did follow the guidelines. There was all the guidelines were followed.
And even if there was, we didn't break any rules.
Exactly, yeah. So I just haven't, I've just had no time, unfortunately.
Sure.
Even less than Matt. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. Same deal. And then it was basically last night, obviously, when the quiz fell through, I was in a shit mood. I was like, right, I'm going to fucking play a bit of Halo. I'm like, 90 minutes, something like that.
Are you on the surface?
I'm on the surface and like just got the mission to do the tower. So yeah.
Right, okay. James,
I've played a lot of this game.
What?
Like,
we're
as
talking
in,
hour-wise.
What I mean by that is, I think we're probably around the same area now in the main story, David. I think.
Who, me and you?
Yeah, because I had a look on the achievements, and you seem to be about the same.
This? Oh, right, okay. Yeah. So you've done the guns, and you're doing the spires.
Yes, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah, that's a.
But I've also like the first, like it's basically divided into islands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it feels like that. Yeah, I've not really discovered the structure of it yet.
I've done all of the first island pretty much in terms of like everything that's on that. I've kind of unlocked and done, and yeah, I've spent much more time actually just exploring the map and just doing all of the side quests and stuff. I've done ridiculous amount of that over the last weekend. It's just
I haven't smashed the side quest as much, I don't think. But
by side quest, you mean like the forward operating bases and
it's all that stuff. I mean, like
targets,
like the upgrades that you get for your character. Like most of mine are like fully upgraded now. From doing that, it's there's a lot.
Wow, you found a bunch of those
Spartan cores.
What are they called? Spartan cores. Yeah. Okay, right. So let's talk the major changes that have been made in this game. For starters, obviously it's a little bit more open world. I wouldn't describe it as open world, but it is a little bit more open world than the previous ones, and I think it really benefits from it. It's absolutely wonderful when you grapple hook onto a Banshee and knowing that it's not going to do that usual Halo thing where you get to a door and suddenly you have to get out on foot because you can't, go any further in your vehicle. I've had things where I've gone, right, I'm going to get a Banshee or a Ghost, and then I'm going to park it like in Back to the Future 2 behind the or Back to the Future 1 behind the billboard and put like the trees over the top of it because I think I know it's there. Once I've done this little bit, I know that I could just jump back into a Ghost or a Banshee to get to the next bit I want to get to. You know what I mean? Like uncover it and drive off. So I think that really benefits from it. That you now upgrade Master Chief, which is what we were talking about earlier, with finding these cores, which I think is a bit. I wonder how Halo purists think about it. Do you know what I mean? Because like the whole argument was you play on heroic because it's perfectly, designed with the amount of health you've got with the shield system and everything for that sort of combat at that level. But in here, now you can upgrade as an option, you can upgrade your shield. That feels a bit weird.
And it does make a significant difference as well, these upgrades.
Does it really?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
See, I think I've only upgraded my shield once. And maybe I need to do that more then.
It's the shield upgrade, but more than anything for me has been the grappling hook upgrade. Because once you've got that, the full upgrades on that, you can wreck anything with that. It's incredible.
What do you mean wreck it?
Like you could, because you can use it as like an offensive weapon, like pretty much, like by.
Yeah, I've been doing that.
Because what you can do, like if you upgrade it to like the 4th level, I think it's 4th or 5th level, whatever it is, it's like you can like grapple onto somebody and then like. You press the melee button at the same time, and then you do like this massive explosive like hit, like more than just like a regular one. And what's really cool about that is that then also the cooldown is like reduced massively, so you can chain it sometimes. Like if you time it right, you can chain it. So the really
you're just zipping about the place, just whacking people.
Basically, yeah. But also like some of the like really difficult enemies, like they become much less difficult because you can just like chain attack them basically, which is it's really cool. Like when you do it,
I'm surprised by how good the grappling hook is, because I think when they showed it off that first time, I think the main reaction was, we've had grappling hooks in games before and okay, fine, but for some reason it just feels fantastic in this, doesn't it?
It's brilliant, especially and for climbing as well, because you can get up any surface pretty much, especially like once the cooldown has been like upgraded, because even if you fall back as you're going up, there's enough time to like grapple up further, so you can just sort of like keep just like throwing it up and then get higher and higher. I
was really surprised with that, because I come across like a really steep cliff, right, and I was thinking, oh, this is how they stop you from just going wherever you want by grappling onto things.
But no.
But there was enough like ledges on that cliff to just work out how to climb up it.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is fucking fantastic. It feels so good. And more importantly, when your shield pops and you're completely surrounded, just like zipping out of there like Spider-Man is such a great feeling.
And like picking up those like the plasma cores or whatever the other one is. Yeah. Like if you see one across the room, you can grab that and then throw that at an enemy. Yeah, that feels awesome. I mean, I kind of, some of the weapons I'm not a huge fan of, but if I see one of those things I can pick up and lob an enemy, I'd rather go for that than use like the alien plasma pistol.
But you can also, I mean, the other thing that's cool is you can use the grappler to like pick up weapons as well. Like, and there's been a couple of times where I've been like up against it and my gun, I've run out of weapons, and then you just like, oh, there's one over across the other side of the room, and you can just like just like grab it. It's very it's brilliant. It's really good.
On the subject on subject of heroic, I mean, I've typically always played these games single player first, and playing on heroic, I felt that was like the best mixture of seeing the AI at its best and actually being able to progress. I thought like each skirmish was really satisfying and really well done on that difficulty. But I even that first kind of named boss you see at the elevator before you get up on the surface, I'm like, fucking hell, this guy is destroying me.
Yeah, it was tough.
I'm gonna change the difficulty when I get up on the surface. This is too. If I play a whole game like this, it'll be like a 70 or 100 hour game for me.
Yeah.
So I did knock it down to normal once I got back up on the surface, because it was just, although I did get past that boss, and if I had the opportunity, I may have like kind of changed the difficulty back down to normal for that boss. But no, I'm glad I got through that. But
that's
it was too
exactly
much for me.
what I did, Matt, because it was doable. But then I was just thinking, I don't really want to spend the entire game doing this, because it will not be
for
fun.
That one boss, I was like, okay, just basically a couple of shots, running around in circles. I mean, I'm not. In the end, I think I did it with like a flow grenades, and then I just zoomed out of there and got lucky with some other like shots, but. Yeah, in that one particular environment, I was like running out of ammo. I didn't have a great gun anyway. I was just, it was a bit stressful, and on heroic, it was just a bit. It wasn't as fun for me. So I'm much happier now that I have turned it down to normal. Definitely.
But this is also one of the other things that I slightly don't like about the game, which is the boss battles. I find them irritating. Like the
one with the arms was pretty good, wasn't it? I don't want to spoil it, but the one with the arms I thought that was pretty cool.
I know, but you see, the most fun I've had in this game so far has been just going around the map, like doing those forward bases and stuff like that, and like capturing places.
Yeah, for sure.
And like cutting around and doing that. That's been the best fun. But then when it's been when it's just been the mission stuff, and it becomes a lot more. Well, so far it's become a lot more sort of narrow and a lot more sort of like this is corridors again. Those boss battles are irritating in confined spaces. I just didn't enjoy them so much.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see if they open that up a bit with some certain boss battles later on. I mean, I've only done, like 3 or 4 bosses. There's not, it's not, the game's not peppered with them.
I was going to say, have boss battles been a thing consistently in Halo?
Yeah, in the last, since 343 started making them, they've really leaned into them. I mean, although you do have, like on the map, one of the things you do have like these like targets that you can take down. They're like particular like like
high value targets, is that it?
Yeah, they're basically high value targets that you have to try and take down. And that's quite good because you can approach them in any way that you like, like from any direction, like with any weapon set or whatever. And you can bring Marines along as well if you want, if you want help. But then it's like the cool thing with that is then it unlocks like extra weapons as well, which are like they've all got like custom weapons that you can then use like yourself, like in the campaign, which is pretty good.
Yeah, oh god, how do I say stuff without spoiling it? Your AI friend can copy them, can't? And that's how they return back to your bases that you open up. I mean, what one thing that I've really enjoyed about this is just the character around it as well. I think they've absolutely nailed the grunts in this. Like, some people, I can see why some people find the grunts irritating or whatever. I don't think that's a common opinion. I think everyone sort of had a soft spot for grunts.
I was going to say, I do sometimes feel a bit fucking cruel.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to. You're totally supposed to. But in this, they like, honestly, I can't think of a better enemy in a game than the grunt.
They're really funny. Like, some of the dialogue is so good.
Lines.
When they kill you, some of the quotes they come out with are just hilarious. I mean, it's embarrassing enough being killed by a grunt. It's usually a stray bullet at the end of a battle, but one of them just went, "Oh, it's a big day for me." It was like,
I was saying, I am accidentally victorious. Which was really good.
All that stuff is absolutely wonderful.
Did you get the one where I killed one? Like I killed like one of the enemies, and then I heard one of the grunts say, "I never got to say how I felt." Like this, which is
that's so good. That's so good. And then they react to each other dying. Like, oh, you got a grunt, or is it all that sort of stuff? All that's great. Also, the introduction of the soldiers is just fantastic. I mean, I had a moment where I'd unlocked a base. I was going for a high value target. I got into the vehicle where it's got loads of seats that you can bring loads of soldiers along with you.
It's like the much larger Warthog, isn't it?
yeah, they're all chatting amongst themselves as we're driving down. Then I noticed they've all got rocket launchers. And it was hilarious because I drove past a group of enemies and I just saw about 12 rockets fly out from the vehicle towards this group of enemies, and they just got absolutely blown to pieces. So, like, you know, that sort of stuff is very much like a compliment thrown towards Far Cry games, right? Where, yeah, it's an open world, and it can be very unscripted with things. And I feel that this captures that side of that game quite well, where, you know, there are moments where I'm using a ghost to completely wipe out a base or whatever, and then all of a sudden an elite jumps from the mountain behind me and knocks me off the ghost and starts using it to try and kill me and stuff like that. You know, it is filled with those moments as well. And I mean, it adds all this stuff, and we've gone through all this stuff, but I think deep down, the one thing it nails more than anything else is that original feeling of Halo.
Yeah.
And,
it really
you know,
does.
I was talking before this game was shown off, I was talking about how I wanted Halo to be completely different this time round. I wanted them to tear it away, and my biggest disappointment with the reveal is just how much it looked like Halo. But, I think maybe I still hold that opinion that maybe Halo should try to be something different. But when you're playing this and thinking, no, they've absolutely fucking nailed it in the best possible way, that's when I go, does it matter that much that they've gone back to it if they've nailed it this well?
But then I also think with the upgrade system that they've added to this, I think it is a positive, actually, and I think it does change things up quite significantly in the way that you play the game, and it's made it feel so much fresher to me than I thought it was going to. I was not expecting to really like this game, but I've been in a situation where every evening when I've played this, I've thought, okay, I'm just going to play this for an hour or whatever, and I've ended up playing for like 3 hours or whatever, which is ridiculous. Like I've been going to bed like ridiculously late I mean, Chen's fed up. I'm sleeping on the sofa tonight because she's just like, please don't like wake me up again at like 2 a.m. or whatever from playing this. But I've just had such a good time playing it. I tell you what's really strange about it. It reminds me. Probably just, again, this is just the open world sort of thing, but it reminds me of Ghost of Tsushima, actually, in terms of like the structure of how like the islands are laid out, and also the kind of like activities and the tasks that you have to do. It's really similar like to that, but then also it's probably similar to Far Cry, which I've not played, so that's probably the I don't know. I mean,
you've never played a Far Cry?
No, I've never really. No, I haven't. I've not really been that bothered to, but it's just, this feels so good. The combat in this just feels so good. It's just, it's got that. You know, if you look at the map, and there's so many ways to get distracted, and I just keep on just thinking, okay, I'll do this base or whatever, and then I'm done for the evening. And then it's like, then you've done it, and then you're like, well, you know, there's some things just over there I could go and deal with as well.
I'm close enough to this, and I am in a vehicle.
Yeah.
So I've had the same situation, James, where I've sat down for half an hour and just gone, I'm going to fucking, like it's 2 hours have gone by, and I'm like, what? How has that happened? And Jo said to me this morning, she went, every time I've come into the front room, you're playing this bloody game.
Yeah.
And it is like every spare half an hour I've got, I go, well, we're having lunch in about half an hour. I haven't really got anything to do, so I'll just whack Halo on for half an hour and I'm playing that. It's been so, I found myself so compelled to just keep going and not necessarily like mainline for the story either. Every now and then it is just kind of like, there's something on the map, let's go over there and see what it is, and go and get into a bit of a scrap or whatever. And sometimes, you know, it's funny because the amount of times I've just come unstuck where I've been like, oh, I'll just go over there and do that mission, and then all of a sudden I'm surrounded by everything kicking off, you know, ghosts and brutes and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, and then she goes,
like,
oh, there's reinforcements coming in. You're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've got to find a weapon quick. Yes, it is good, and it constantly feels like I'm on my toes while playing it. You know, I've really got to focus in during the combat. It just feels really good. But okay, I've got something for you, James. Let's go back to our favourite way of reviewing games. Yeah?
Go on.
Gameplay, brilliant, right? Music, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's very good.
In my opinion. I think the music is absolutely fantastic in this game.
It's proper dread as well sometimes, like what comes in from that. You know, when it's like that really heavy beats that start and you're just like, oh shit, something's coming.
And then sometimes it's just like sort of plinky plonky piano music while you're in a big battle as well. It just like captures it perfectly. Longevity seems to be going well, right? graphics, absolute dud. In my
Really?
opinion. Yeah, it doesn't look great.
It's all right.
It really doesn't.
It's not bad.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look stunning.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it doesn't
also,
look great.
Have you had any like lockups at all, David? Because I have.
No,
Like when I've played
no
it,
lockups.
I've had a couple of times. It's happened to me 3 times where I've been like playing,
Oh,
and then suddenly
Telelock.
it's just frozen, and then you're like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And then it starts again after about
Yes, no,
10
I had
seconds
that
or whatever,
once. That's because I thought it had crashed.
Yeah.
But it hadn't. It was just obviously struggling to load something. But I had that once.
But visually, it's
but no,
fine.
I mean,
but yeah,
it's fine, but it doesn't feel like this is a new. You know what I mean? I Halo Guardians, when I played that, which was awful, but when I played that, I thought, wow, this looks stunning. I'm playing this and not. I don't think once I've gone, this looks stunning.
I think I have, just because of some of like the art direction. I think it has been fantastic when you're in kind of a standard kind of base with tunnels and whatnot. I think that's really, really impressive. But I think the art direction kind of save it. 'Cause it's not something like you've got to see Halo, you've got to see the graphics on it. So I don't think it's one of them games. And
but
the
art
outdoor environment's
direction,
probably less impressive, actually.
The art direction can be maintained with things looking sharp. I mean, the trees in this just look like they're taken out of like Halo 4 or something.
This is
you know?
why
I'm saying the art direction kind of saves the less than incredible visuals and kind of elevate and makes it look great, in my opinion, because of the art direction.
I mean, I know they
I
couldn't
dunno.
do this, but this is why it's a shame. I think that this wasn't just like an Xbox Series exclusive, and they'd have just gone for that, because I'm sure this is because of the limitations of the like Xbox One. They were still shooting for that.
I guess. But then we've seen crossover games like, say, for example, Forza Horizon, which looks absolutely incredible on the X. Like,
That's true.
and
Yeah.
still running on the One. So I don't know.
I mean, it's
I'm
a
not
perfect
sure.
combination of that.
Is there
and
as
other
much-
factors? It's had a long old development.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say.
Their tools don't sound great, as you mentioned earlier, James, in that story. So it's probably a whole host of reasons why it doesn't look as good as we may potentially have hoped.
Do you think they're
But
going
that's
to
the
build on
only
this
thing
though?
I
Still,
think on
though?
this. Oh, 100%.
'Cause
What,
it
in
feels like
terms
that,
of
doesn't
what?
it?
Content?
I think. I think there's going to be more campaign stuff is going to come because
I'm almost certain of it. I mean, unless it dramatically changes who the bad guy is, then I think it's going to be. There's going to be
There
loads
was
of stuff.
a thing the other day, like where it's like how Halo Infinite, the Endless, was like patented or
That's right.
revealed,
Yeah.
and people are like, okay, is this the first DLC? Blah blah blah. I mean, I'm not sure if they've used these exact words, but it does definitely feel like this could be a platform for the next 10 years of Halo, etc.
I'm wondering if it's going to be like a Destiny kind of thing, where there's just going to be like new seasons of stuff basicly that they'll do.
There is a lot of Destiny in this, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you look at the mission structure, there is like, oh right, okay, high value targets and all that sort of stuff.
But isn't it nice being able to? I mean, I'm saying this, having barely played it, but the idea of having a game that feels like Destiny, but I'm going through a map and actually impacting what that map looks like and actually changing things is really appeals, because obviously you never get that with Destiny because it's a persistent world and what have you. Like you go in, you do missions and stuff, and like yes, story events unfold, but the world never really changes apart from when massive bits of it disappear. But the idea of actually having some sort of material effect on what the world looks like, or who controls what, or whatever.
What
as
I
go
can
through
see
is
happening
cool.
is that one of the big criticisms I read in reviews and you two both said as well is the lack of discovery or lack of cool things. And you do apparently there's a whole massive map to explore, and you do there's enemies around here. That's something, but there's no real mysteries. I could see them just updating it, and then suddenly there are like weird things happening on the map, and everyone's like, hang on, are you playing Halo Infinite at the moment? There's suddenly all these weird structures that appeared on the map, and I can see them doing stuff that feels like public events or feels almost like an ARG maybe in many ways, but it's just something they've kind of patched in because this feels like a platform. It feels like something to build on for the future.
Or just like a little cave that you go down and experience a whole little story that you never would have experienced, stuff like that. That's what I want.
There are some brilliant bits though. Like, do you know the first time that I went across the bridge from like one area to another, and there was like on the other side of the bridge, there's like that blockade basically of like forces, and then you take them on, and then they all like, as I started to like beat them, they all ran away, and it was just brilliant. It was just like watching them all just like
running away, and this is great. Yeah. All that stuff. All that stuff felt straight out of Halo Combat Evolved. Because, that's what happened. That's what made that game so fun. You could hit a jackal. Well, they weren't in Halo 1, but you could shoot at a grunt or whatever, and then they freak out and run off, and they're shivering in a corner. And it's all in this,
Also,
it's
I also think the voice acting for Master Chief's very good in this one. Like, just it is all just one word answers, but the way it's delivered is very good.
Yeah, like, has he always, like, he's quite well, he's not trying to be funny, but the writing, I feel, is trying to be quite funny even with him this time. Has that always been a thing?
Yes, I think so, yeah. It's just more so this time, it feels like, yeah.
Just in terms of being, like, really sort of, like you say, this sort of stoic,
super
like,
dry.
Yeah, like, dry sort of hero. But
like maybe it's a trap.
Like Hitman
it
style.
always is. It's
I fucking love that line. Yeah, the missions change; they always do.
Yeah,
there is something about the writing that makes me laugh because it does feel. I don't know if you feel the same, but it does feel. You know how you see sometimes you see Halo fans put a picture of Master Chief up with a quote next to it, it's like a corny, hey, apply this to life type thing. It feels like they've just written a billion of those and tried to put as many in as possible. You know what I mean?
Also, have you come across the propaganda towers? Because they're really funny.
Yes. Yeah, they're hilarious. Yeah. Especially not only the propaganda towers, but the speakers that you're not supposed to blow up.
Yeah.
But the speakers where the grunts are just shouting shit over a microphone. It's just so funny.
Me personally, I think the voice actor is great, but I can't, every time I hear him say something, I just can't not think about the cameo they did where he mentioned about the computer game show.
Well, he said, thanks for living it, guys.
Exactly. Every single line, I was like, oh yeah, that's that dude that, I can even see the cameo in my mind when Master Chief's reciting a line. So that's kind of ruined it for me.
The other thing, Dave, have you picked up many of the audio logs around?
Yeah. Yeah,
because they vary in quality massively.
Really?
I felt,
yeah, they do.
Like some of them,
I thought it was pretty cool. The first one you pick up, like a few hours in, the first time you pick one up, and I'm not going to spoil it. There's someone
really good.
The best, the best ones are
they do vary.
The ones that are from the Banished. I think because I've picked up these ones that are just like grunts, like it's their diary or whatever of what's going on, and it sounds really funny, which is great. But then,
and there's a nice user experience thing that they've added in there where you can press X to just collect it or hold down X to listen to it. Unlike just you collected an audio log in any other game and you had to basically just stop and stand still and listen to it. Here you can deal with what you would deal with, come back, listen to it later, or listen to it there if you feel like you want to. So I think that's a nice little added extra.
But some of them, my
favourite game for... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, some of them are a bit variable. Like, some of them really sound like they've been recorded in a recording studio. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't...
Yeah. Like, there's a sort of echo in the background. My favourite, for audio logs is The Division 2. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Did you ever listen to it? Hilarious. It was like, you'd pick one up and it would be like, hey, Gary, have you heard about this virus? Yeah, I've heard about it. Hey, what's that cough? What you coughing there, Gary? Yeah, it's just a cough. Gary? It's like, fucking hell, we write.
Do you know what amazes me is that Borderlands 2 took the piss out of that, and that was years ago. There was this one character where you get into his shack or whatever, and there's all these audio logs everywhere, and you play the first one, it's quite long, and he's going, we've moved to Pandora, me and my wife, and we've set up this house, it's going to be incredible, and he's really happy, and then the next one is literally 2 seconds long, and he just goes, well, my wife's dead.
Yeah. I mean, The Division was playing that for real, and it was really bad. Okay, maybe that's enough of Halo.
For now,
it's really good though,
about it next week.
It's really good.
Even the little bit I've played, I've enjoyed the fuck out of it. I'm really excited to play. That session was short because it got to 1 a.m. I was like, if I don't stop now, as the open world stuff is really, opening up, then I'm fucking doomed. So I had to just stop and call it a night. But yeah, I'm really excited to get back to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to play more of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was enjoying it almost straight away. This just feels like Halo should feel, and I don't think I really felt like Guardians straight away or even at any point during the game, but something about those opening opening 2 hours, I'm like, okay, this feels like it's the Halo I've enjoyed, and that was properly before getting into the open world stuff, which I'm really only at the start of. So I'm interested to know how the open world stuff that you've talked about, which sounds really awesome, kind of coalesces and works with the kind of standard Halo missions and how that works as a story. So I can't wait to dive in and play more.
See, I just ignored the story for quite a long time and just went off exploring and just did tons of that.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not really interested in the story. I never have been.
That's good that you feel like it hasn't forced you to get into the story missions and you can just go out now and do what you want.
Occasionally the AI keeps on saying, hey, should we go and have a look at that dig that they're doing? And
should we save the planet?
So I'm all right. I've got some other things to do.
I think that though, right? Because the AI has got a lot of personality in this game. And let's call her the weapon because that's how it's like referred to in at least the subtitles.
Yes, I know.
But well, it's not, is it? Because okay, so the weapon is quite, a lot of personality in that character.
Yeah, but it works.
And I just think, right, it works, but I instantly think that's an AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an artificial intelligence. It's been designed to be like that, right? So I just kind of think, what if the person that gets that AI, what if they don't like that? Like, what's going on? What's going on? What are you not telling me? Like, when they go, who designed it this way? Like, shut the fuck up and do your job. You're an AI. You're code. Hey, look at this. And when she does the what is it? The Nintendo Switch Direct snap, like click of the fingers when she's like hacking into stuff. Like, what if the person goes, that's really annoying. Can you stop that? just stop it. Being so smug about how you can hack things. Really, yeah. I mean, it doesn't annoy me, but I can imagine a super soldier saying, hold on a minute, I didn't sign up for this. Can you just code it to tone the sass down, please?
I think she's got just the right amount of sass. I think it's good.
I'm sure you do. Right, that's Halo Infinite. I'm trying to think, who should I call on next to talk about what they've been playing this week? I'm just trying to... How about Sean? Let's go with Sean.
Oh my God.
This week.
Blimey.
I know. Look at this.
Started playing It Takes Two with my wife.
Good game, wasn't it?
Very
Game of
good.
the year.
Really enjoying it. I mean, let's face it, there's going to be a conversation about this next week, so I won't go into loads of detail. I know you were saying like the story's shit. I mean, I've been enjoying the dialogue enough, but that's quite funny.
I think by the end, Sean, my main feeling was, I hope these two people never are happy again. I don't like either of them.
Yeah, and because that was my only complaint, is that it's just that super harmful like Hollywood trope, isn't it, of the kid getting the feuding parents back together. It's like, no, they don't get on. It's not a realistic thing to sort of put across to children that if you just wish hard enough, Mummy and Daddy will get back together. Like, it's a really shitty thing to do. So, I mean, I don't know how it ends, but just certainly initially, I'm just like, no, they're doing this like 80s, 90s kids film thing, and it's like genuinely fucks a lot of people up.
It's just my point is more that they're just two completely unlikable characters. Like, at no point was I rooting for either of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of, but that story does go some really weird and unexpected places though. So
I was rooting for the book throughout the whole game. Just rooting for the book.
Yeah, I wanted that book. Every time that book showed up, I was like, "Ee."
I quite like the book. I'm all right with him. It's like
I've got time for that book.
But I mean, as I say, I think probably this is coming up next week. So
how far into are you?
I mean, we got to the bit where you meet. Is it the squirrels in the tree, and they want you to get rid of the wasps, and then we called it a night there. So
you've seen some amazing stuff though, right?
God,
graphically, it's absolutely like mind blowing in play. You're not mind blowing, but there's like you're like, I didn't expect this to look so good.
Yeah, man.
I think that was the
it's genuinely beautiful. Yeah. And it's been nice. Like, obviously, like my wife doesn't play a lot of games, so it's like it's really good about how often it reminds you of like the controls and stuff. Because obviously, because I'm a dick, I just run off and I know what jump is, and probably guess what dash is, and I assume there's a double jump and all the rest of it. Like I just sort of instinctively know those things, whereas she doesn't. And obviously, I sometimes forget that just because she's done something 5 times, it doesn't like the like doing like the ground pound attack or whatever. That to me, that's just like, oh, there's a ground pound in this. Of course, like you're right, fine. Then that's just that just flicks a switch in my head that I know that's a thing. Whereas she will forget. But there's enough prompts to remind her. So it hasn't.
I'm really interested to see how she gets on, because it does get tough in places. This game.
Mm-hmm. No, I can imagine, because there's already been. I mean, some of the boss fight with the Hoover was okay. The one with the toolbox was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, but no, it's been all right so far. Had a really nice time. Obviously, I did like when I suggested to her that we were going to play it. I might have said this last week, but I was like, please don't read into the fact that it's about a couple that are splitting up. And there's, I just thought it'd be a nice thing for us to do together, and so far it has been. So
good.
The main one I've played this week is I finally played Backbone. So this was the one. So I streamed the prologue, the demo of it, a while back when I was doing the Animal Detective series. So this was, I'd been following the devs on Twitter for a long time, and I was really excited about this coming out. And this was like the reason I wanted to do the Animal Detectives series, and because sort of having been interested in Backbone, I was like, hang on, this is like a whole genre in and of itself. Why is that? Like, it's just a really odd thing that there's loads of games where you play as a detective and also everyone's animals. And then it came out like initially, so it's always been on Game Pass, but initially it was PC only, and then it more recently came to consoles. But then it just came to the Xbox at a time when other stuff was coming out, and it sort of fell down the list, and I finally gotten around to it. The other reason I didn't rush to it was the reception to it was fairly mixed. Like a lot of the reviews and sort of, comments on Steam or whatever, like a lot of people really liked it, but they all talked about the fact that sort of towards the end, it takes a massive like tonal shift, right? Well, not even tonal shift, but just the story goes somewhere like really fucking weird. And like, if you went in just wanting like a noir detective story, like it's certainly like well out of the realms of that, right? And a lot of people didn't like that. Whereas I feel like having had some time to sort of see that reaction and process it and go in knowing that that's a thing, really so it didn't really bother me. Like, I had a great time playing this. I mean, I say a great time. It's very melancholy and quite sad. It's quite depressing in a lot of ways. It's the basic setup is you play as Howard Lotor, who is a raccoon in a. Supposedly it's set in Vancouver, but for reasons you'll discover as you play it, I don't know how true that is. But it's like 2D side on. Sort of ostensibly a detective game where it starts off with the typical like woman turns up and she thinks her husband's cheating on her, and it already you get a sense of like the tone of it, right? Because she's not even really worried that he's cheating on her. She's just like, look, I've got 2 kids, I've got a third on the way, I'm filing for divorce, I just need some evidence. Like, I just want fucking rid, right? And you're like, okay, this is all a bit sad already. And it gets way sadder. But it's the way that it, like, and the bulk of the gameplay is just you walking left to right, talking to people, occasionally picking up items, but it's not really, like, there's no puzzles to speak of. I wouldn't call it like a point-and-click adventure game. It is more sort of interactive fiction in that you are just having conversations with people, making dialogue choices. There's nothing to figure out as such. And the choices you make, like, it doesn't really affect the outcome overall, but the dialogue system's just fantastic. Again, it's your standard, someone says something, you have 3-4 options to choose from, you say something back, then they say something, and, standard stuff, but it's the way it's written so convincingly that, like, you hardly ever get that feeling of, like, right, well, I'm in this sort of conversation menu. Here's like 3 or 4 points I can say. Whereas if I say that bottom one, it's going to take me to a different conversation tree. like, and there's just no sense of that. It all, like, even though the meaning behind some of those options will remain the same. Like, you'll say one thing, and then one of the conversation options remains open, but it'll be rephrased to sort of react to what the other person just said, which just makes it all feel so much more like a natural conversation.
Yeah, so it sounds like it feels less like, okay, I'm a video, I play games, I know how these four answers will lead me to a next part. It feels like you're just seeing the making and the working behind the actual conversation.
Exactly, and sometimes
like a regular conversation.
Yeah, and without any signposting, and this will sound like it would be frustrating, but it works. Like, you can accidentally just piss someone off, and they'll just be like, look, sorry, fuck off, I don't want to talk to you, or whatever, and you're just like, okay, that wasn't really signposted, but maybe I should have guessed that what I just said was going to upset them or whatever. And it's just so, like, the writing is just so sophisticated. As I say, if you can bear this sort of massive shift towards the end, which obviously I can't spoil. And, like, it deals quite well with... so there's all different species of, like, anthropomorphic animals, right? So as I say, you're a raccoon, which is made very clear is considered like the bottom of the rung. Like, it's this like deeply sort of racist, like hierarchical society, right, where literally like certain species aren't allowed certain jobs, right, and stuff like that. And they're like, and the apes are all the way up at the top. And it's just really cool to see a world like this portrayed in a way that like generally, when you get fiction where it's like, they're people but also animals, it's like some sort of completely ignore the fact that they're all different species, and some go down this weird route of like, no, like cats behave this way, or dogs behave this way, mice behave this certain way. Whereas this sort of makes a point of being like, no, they're all just people. It's just this bullshit hierarchy that's just sort of been put upon them. And yeah, and like you playing as a raccoon, like you have to deal with people being racist towards you. And it's, and like I sort of read up on, some like, reviews from like people of color who've played this, and they're just like, yeah, it sort of really like conveys really well this sort of weariness you get where like, yeah, every time someone's racist to you, you have the option to be like, fuck you, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like, but more often than not, you just have to shrug it off and you feel like shit. And it was just, yeah, it was just a really interesting experience. Like, because it happens so often when like people you've helped as well, like people you think you've formed a real bond with, and then they'll end a conversation with like, yeah, do you know what? You're not bad for a striper, which you realize quite early on is a horrible, like a racist term for raccoons. And it's just, yeah, it's just really beautifully written. It's about
an interesting way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 3 or 4 hours long. Like there's moments in the soundtrack are absolutely gorgeous. Like the visuals are beautiful. I would really recommend it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. If you can stomach the ending, which you'll only find out if you play it. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Backbone,
cool.
It's on Game Pass.
Well, when I saw that in your list, I thought you were going to talk about the iOS controller.
Well, this is the thing, yeah, because if you try and search for stuff about the game, and it's like, yeah, here's the controller. Do you want to?
Yeah, you've got to search Backbone game.
Yes.
That bloody controller turns up.
I want that controller, but it's iOS only, isn't it? It's really annoying.
You got an iPad in your?
I don't think does it work with iPads. I don't think it expands wide enough. Does it?
I think isn't it supposed to just clip on? I don't think you could do that on an iPad.
No, it's not iPad. No. Yeah, I've got Razer Kishi, but I would like to try out Backbone because I hear it feels better as a controller, and it's got that kind of it's got a kind of OS built in where you can quickly clip videos and all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spend £100 on another controller. I don't even really use the first one as much.
Yeah, fair dues. The other one I've played, and this will be a quick one because I've not spent a huge amount of time on it. This is After the Fall. This is a Quest 2 game, but I believe it's also PC and PSVR with full crossplay.
Yeah,
this is it's a lazy comparison, but it's Left 4 Dead, right? It's for people in VR, we're making their way through levels, shooting zombies, picking up items, and it's So I've done like the first sort of proper mission in it, but only on my own. What was really cool was I was worried that it was going to be like, it's 4-player co-op, like play with other people or forget it. But I've so far had a perfectly good time playing with AI. It's just, it's weird because on the one hand, there's nothing, because we're still at that point with VR where sometimes a game will come out where it's like, there's nothing remarkable about this. It's just a good version of something you're already familiar with, but in VR. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's fine. Like, that's enough. Like, it's like, it just feels really good, like making your way through like apartment building and stuff, and like, sort of neatly headshotting the zombies as you make your way through, and there's, sort of cool little bits where you think you're sort of waltzing your way through an area and like, this isn't too bad, and then just, oh shit, like 10 of them have just come out the fucking wall, and suddenly you're having a bit of a panic. And so playing on your own, you have AI teammates who are perfectly competent. There's all they have sort of little vocal like call outs and stuff, so they tell you when they're reloading, they tell you sort of roughly what they're going to do, if they're going to throw a grenade or whatever. So it's cool that all that stuff is there, like if you did want to play it solo. But I know a couple of friends who've got it, so I'm really looking forward to playing it with them.
Yeah, I mean, Left 4 Dead you'd have AI on there, but it was not. I mean, it doesn't matter how good the AI is, isn't it? If that game's all about playing with your mates.
True.
So,
yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how much better it is when you know the people that are walking around with you.
Absolutely, and it'd be funny to like play with friends and like turn the difficulty up a bit as well, because like there was a few bits where it got tough in that first mission, but obviously not. It's like literally the first mission, and I sort of had it on the standard difficulty. Whereas, like, playing it with friends and sort of enforcing a bit more tension by like turning the difficulty up would probably be really good fun as well. It's just, and like, again, it's, just those funny situations that you get because it's in VR that you wouldn't get in Left 4 Dead, for example, where you just like, there's loads of zombies on you and you're trying to reload your gun, and because you're panicking, you're fucking dropping the clip on the floor and then realizing it was literally your last clip, so you're having to like fucking crouch in real life and like grab it, like scramble around on the floor. Oh fuck, there it is, grab it, put it in, pull the thing back, and just really good, really enjoyed it.
Love that shit.
So I mean, I'll probably, as I say, hopefully get some time on it over Christmas and then talk about it more in the new year. But seems decent so far.
Cool. All right, I'll go because I wasn't here last week, so I've only got a couple of other games to talk about other than Halo Infinite. Metroid Dread, I finished that just before we started recording.
Oh wow!
Brilliant. An hour before we started recording.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking kicked myself actually because. That final boss, I could have done that ages ago had I not. Had I realised that big orange ball, there's a way of exploding it.
Yeah.
Once I realised that there's a way to explode it, it was like, oh, this is like the first. It was like one of those things that I text you about it when I come across a tough enemy. Sean, and you went, I struggled with that one too, but then remembered the last. Upgrade that I had, and I used that and did it first time. Yeah. And I was like, oh, of course, let me try that. Oh, yeah, I did it first time. It was a little bit like that because I got to that third phase maybe 4 or 5 times and died there 4 or 5 times. And I was like, I can't do this and I might not do it because this is annoying. And then I was like, oh, no, I just do that. And
you get all your health
instantly
back as well.
Gets rid of it, and you get all your health back. So after I'd done it, we'll work that out. I was like, okay, I've done it now. But I think I'm going to hold back on my overall opinion of the game. I really loved it, basically. I really loved Metroid Dread. I've had a great time with it. But I don't want to go into details yet because I don't want to show my hand.
Enough.
Did you 100% it, or do you want to?
No.
Or...
No, I don't want 100% it, but I did go back and find loads of... So I was really struggling with the boss initially. And I'd find that I would run out of missiles too much. So I went, you know what, I'm going to go back into the world. And I was surprised that wasn't just mandatory. I'm surprised that wasn't gated off and said, no, go back into the world before you can face this the bad boss. The bad boss, the big bad guy, you know what I'm saying? Because it feels like you're supposed to experience how powerful you are after that final... couple of upgrades you get towards the end of that game. Because when you go back, it's like, oh, right, I'm not scared of any enemy now because I can literally blast through
Yeah,
a wall
I love that.
to kill them.
When I was going around collecting things, I'm like, whatever, bang, you're dead, bang.
That was
you're
what
dead.
was cool though, because that's when you go back and do all the collecting, and you are like, just
Yeah,
incredibly
it was like, I'm
powerful.
surprised that it let me go to that final boss after that, because obviously I'm still way underpowered until I've got, and a lot of those items that you pick up are hidden behind things that you wouldn't have got until you've got some of the last upgrades anyway.
Yeah.
So it was weird that it doesn't sort of force you to do that. And also, it did make me laugh a little bit. I will mention this, how it kept conjuring up different things that you couldn't get past until you had an upgrade. And I think my favourite was that weird sort of small tree that was on fire for literally no reason.
Yeah.
I was like, what are these things? What are they doing? Okay, I can't get past them. And then it was like, now you've got a frozen missile. And I was like, right, so that gets me past them. You've just introduced them to sort of stunt my progression for a little bit. It was a bit silly.
Yeah, I mean, this game has like 10 or 20 types of door, doesn't it?
I know,
And some of them
Or
are
things
pink,
to block your
green.
some are
path,
green.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and like I there was a point where I was just thinking, why is this not just a keycard system? Like, how is this any different from a keycard
Well, I
system in
suppose
those
it's
old
more fun
games?
to tie it to like a new weapon, right? That's more fun than
I
just getting a
guess.
key card.
But ultimately, the mechanic of progression is exactly the same. You know what I mean? It was like, come on. But I mean, ultimately, I went and really enjoyed the game. And the other game that I've been playing a hell of a lot of this week is Rocket League Sideswipe.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't believe it. So Rocket League Sideswipe is a mobile version of Rocket League. Obviously, Rocket League's a big title, very popular esports game. Well, it's I don't know what the esports scene is like. It's wrong with me to say that, but
it is a very
still,
popular esports game.
Yeah, and it is still played by loads of people. So getting it on mobile must have been a priority at some point. And you think, how the fuck do you do that? The thing with Rocket League is that you have to be precise. It's a very complex game, even though as simple as it seems when you first play it. There's so much to it. That getting that onto a mobile device is going to be nigh on impossible. And, even getting it on Switch, which was good to play with, but when you get to a point with Rocket League where everything is that precise, playing it on that resolution with those controls in handheld mode is a total mess, basically. You only really play that to have a bit of a laugh rather than take Rocket League seriously. So they come up with this idea of Rocket League Sideswipe, which is a completely new game. And it's a sort of 2D version of Rocket League, and I cannot believe how good it is. I mean, it should be a game that's held up to say this is how you transfer an existing IP to mobile, because mobile games always scale back, right, and often to the point where they don't even feel like the game that they're using the license of. This 100% feels like you're playing a game of Rocket League. Like, from juggling the ball mid-air, getting last-minute saves, getting a fluky goal here and there, holding your breath as the clock ticks down to 0, but the ball's still in the air, getting that. I mean, it's incredible fun. You basically it's on-screen controls, which is never usually good, but it feels fine here, where you've got a joystick on your left thumb, and on your right thumb you've got two big buttons. One's jump, and the other one's boost. And it works just like Rocket League does, but you've only got those two dimensions. There's certain things that they've had to take away, like obviously you can't explode the other team's cars. The goals are not on the floor. They're like raised up slightly to make sure that the ball doesn't just roll into the goal constantly. And you pass through other players rather than, there's no collision between the cars at all. But I cannot believe how good it feels to play and how fun it is to play. And surprisingly, the microtransaction stuff, because it is free to play, is practically non-existent. I can see it there, and I'm sure that they'll introduce more stuff later on that will make you want to buy stuff, but all the stuff that you would buy is the stuff that you'd buy in Rocket League, so it's on a similar level to that. You know,
I was going to say, because surely
new wheels or a new body or that sort of stuff.
Surely they can just make the
It's all
argument
there,
that it's
but
like,
it's
well,
not
look,
essential.
this is what worked for Rocket League, so why on earth would we change it? Like, it's Rocket League's always been good for that, hasn't it? Like, it's never felt.
I think the problem they have is that they haven't got as much of what's in Rocket League. By the time that went free to play and introduced all this stuff, there were thousands of items that you could get. Whereas here, there's like free goal celebrations, and I'm getting the same toppers over and over again, and not very many different designs and the cars and stuff. But you know, there are loot boxes that you can unlock through the Rocket Pass system and all that sort of stuff. It's just, honestly, if you're like me and looked at this when it was announced and thought, oh god, what are they doing? Just download it and play it. If you like Rocket League, and even if you've never played Rocket League, give it a go, because you can do more impressive stuff in this with way less skill. You know what I mean? Taking it, but like reducing it down to a 2D game makes scoring absolutely crazy goals way easier. And it's just so much fun. And I genuinely think put it on Switch. Get it on Switch. The biggest problem with the game at the moment is that your thumb takes up the bottom left-hand corner, and sometimes you need that screen space to see what the opposite team are doing, right? You're always shooting from right to left as default. You can switch it so you're shooting left to right, but where your thumb is controlling the joystick, you'll struggle to see what the enemy team are doing, like what the other team are doing if they're flying up at that point or whatever, because they're underneath your thumb. Get it on Switch, because Rocket League on Switch is okay, but this is a scaled down version of Rocket League that would work perfectly on that console. Get it on Switch. I'd love to play it on that. It'd be so much fun. There's no reason why you can't do it. There's no reason why you can't do it. Does that work?
Yeah,
James,
that
you
works.
speak English now? Right, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
Get it done. That is it. Who else has played it?
I've played a couple of games and I just didn't go back to it.
Why? It's so addictive.
I played 2 and I haven't got time for this right now. But I mean, even the tutorial was fun to do and it was satisfying, but I just haven't reopened it since then.
God knows how many hours I've played it already. I'm on like level 26 or whatever.
It's got the Rocket Pass just like the main game, and
it's got the Rocket Pass, but I don't know if it's got Premium Pass. I didn't see an option for it. I might have bought it if it had, so I don't think it's got Premium Pass, but it's I'm sure they'll add that. It's got the same league systems. You've got singles, doubles, and hoops. It's got challenges to earn XP and loot boxes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's got the whole Rocket League experience there, but in a new type of game that just feels brilliant to play. So yeah, bang up for that. So don't sleep on that. It's a good game.
Cool. I've got it installed.
I've got it installed.
Just haven't played it yet.
Play it, man. You'll love it. That's it from me. So Matt, you've got a couple left on your list. Oh no, you just got one.
It's one I've also played. I just forgot to write it down.
And it's one that I've also
played it as well.
Yeah, we've all played it. So what is this, Matt? Then
explain
what this is before we
Matrix
go into it.
Awakens, an Unreal 5 engine demo, or sorry, Unreal 5 engine experience, or whatever. So this got announced pre the Game Awards, and you could download it, and it said it was a Matrix Unreal 5 engine thing. And again, I didn't watch the Game Awards, but I assume this was mentioned more there, and then it kind of unlocked. Is that how it worked? I don't know.
I think it was already up for a couple of days, wasn't it? I think it
was. Yeah, it was definitely up way before the Game Awards, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay, cool. Okay. Well, I mean, I only played it afterwards, so in my mind it just was unlocked. But yeah, basically, so it's a thing that's in 3 sections, where the first section is you see kind of digitally rendered versions of Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss from The Matrix, and they play their characters and also themselves, and they kind of talk to each other in incredibly realistic digital models of them as actors and as their characters, to the point where I'm like, okay, are they switching between digital and real life? Is there some video in this?
I thought they were, weren't they? Didn't they do that? Didn't they?
I think they did at points,
them?
but it wasn't always clear for me personally. The representation was so good that I'm like, okay, is this now a video Or was this?
Yeah, I was the same.
Yeah, I was immensely impressed because I was trying to work out whether it is video footage or an actual digital.
Yeah, but it was very clear when they were in the car. I mean, for obvious reasons, but it was also very clear visually, right?
Yeah, it's clear in the car, but I think in that first environment where they're like in that quite bare environment and they sat in down chairs, whatever, and then Neo goes over to the mirror. I thought that was really, really impressive. So that's the first part of the demo. You just watched that. The second part of the demo is a big old car chase, similar to that one in the second Matrix movie, Matrix Reloaded, where they have like that big old chase down the freeway. This is that as well. It's got Neo and Trinity and also another character. I'm not quite sure.
I assume she's from the new film.
Who the other character was. Yeah. Basically, again, it's them all in the car in this incredibly realistic environment. They're getting chased by loads of other kind of agents. They have this like chat around about the game, but also kind of break the fourth wall and say, "Oh, look, it's you from the Matrix, or whatever." I can't remember the actual dialogue they use, but they use some dialogue that breaks the fourth wall when they kind of refer to themselves as characters. And then, basically, then there's this...
Oh, look, it's you from The Matrix.
I think that's an actual line, yeah. Just like the quality of like the models is unbelievably impressive. And then combine that with the quality of like the environments they're in. And it's basically like you're playing part from an action movie, but not like other games where, this is like an action bit in like Uncharted, where it feels incredibly gamey. This looked almost like film-like personally, in terms of the action and the quality of what you're doing. The actual gameplay was incredibly basic. You basically could fire with like the right trigger and you could aim at some of the tyres of the cars that were chasing you, but forgetting the actual gameplay
and
itself.
It was incredibly scripted as well, wasn't it? There's moments where you're firing at tyres and they're doing nothing until you go past clearly a checkpoint.
Yeah, and then suddenly...
And then they explode and something happens.
But I mean, obviously, feel free to play this back to us in 5 years, but I was the same as Matt. I was like, fucking hell, this basically looks real. It's absolutely absurd how good it looks.
It looked absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
It looked like you were playing bits from a movie. Yep. And yes, like there was a bit just before like the proper car chase kicks off. There was like a conversation between the characters in the car, and yes, like you can tell that they're not obviously the actual actors, and I couldn't say, okay, well, is that video or is that not? You can tell they're then at that point they were rendered, but the action, like the kind of explosions, like the lighting, the graphics, like the other cars and the environment look absolutely next level, absolutely next generation for me. So I knew this was coming, but I didn't really know anything about this. And the first part of the demo where you're just watching them, so I'm like, okay, cool. So you're going to watch this demo. That's pretty cool. And then the next bit, there's actually some actual interactivity where you get to shoot the tyres of the enemy vehicles. Like, okay, I didn't expect this amount of interactivity. And then after that bit, then it kind of shows you all the kind of rendering stuff they do in the game. It shows like the AI. You can like flip a button to show like textured and untextured like versions of the city, and even that's kind of impressive to see how many polygons, all the kind of work that's going inside this city. Like, and you can see like the various the cars, you can press a button to switch them from realistically modelled cars to these like blobs that go around the city, and I thought that was really cool. We can like change the time of the day and whatnot, so you can see kind of the inner workings. And then there's a third section of the demo, which is basically like a Grand Theft Auto demo. Well, essentially, I mean... you're placed down in the city, and you have a character where you can walk around. You can also get into vehicles. And you can bomb around, and
that was cool. That was my moment, I think, when because I got a text message from Chet Roiver saying you should play this Matrix thing. I've heard it's really good. I'm downloading it now. So I went, okay, I'll download it. And I started playing it, and I got to the end of the driving bit, and it genuinely looked like it was going to end there. And I nearly sent him a text saying, why the fuck have you asked me to do this? Like, I hated that driving section, mainly because of how it played. It looked great and everything. That was cool. But I could have watched a video of it.
It felt like on rails. Obviously was on rails, but
scripted on rails. It looked good, but as I said, that could have been. I could have watched that on YouTube. Fine, I didn't need to download the thing for it. And then when it opened up and let me explore the city a little bit, I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. And then when I walked up to a car and it said drive, and all right, granted, one of the worst driving mechanics I think I've ever experienced in a game.
Makes GTA handling look good.
the fact that it was, oh right, it's letting me do stuff. That's really impressive. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So you can walk around the city on foot. You can get into parked cars. You can't get into cars that have already been driven around, but you can also fly, and you can go right above the city, and the draw distance is like something I've never seen before. It's like the quality of, I mean, you can see all the cars going around this huge city, and there's a huge amount of traffic from a crazy height above the city, and it looked absolutely stunning. And I think you might have said it, James, but in our WhatsApp. But yeah, this has made me think of like, what the hell is GTA 6 going to look like? Is it going to be anything like this? It's like the quality of the visuals.
The answer's no, right?
I mean, yeah, because
I don't know, Dave. I mean, they've really always pushed that like in a big way. Like,
do
you remember the first time we saw like GTA 4 on 360? It looked incredible. At the time.
I'm sure it'll look incredible, but you got to remember a few things about this tech demo. The first being it runs at 30 frames, and that's you can see the industry is moving to 60 as a standard, right? The second being it was 40 gigs for just what was in this. So that shows that actually file sizes, we don't want 300 gig downloads for our games. You know what I mean? This has literally a car chase sequence in it, some FMV, and then that city, which is incredibly detailed, don't get me wrong, and looks absolutely stunning. But it's 40 gigs just for this. It was like, okay.
But they're doing, like Epic are releasing the city, aren't they? As in, like anybody can take that and do things, and do things with it. And
well, there was Mike Bithell did a really interesting thread on this, where he was like, he wasn't critical of it. He was just saying it's interesting, sort of what it might mean, because when Unreal Engine 5 was first unveiled, they were very keen to point out it's like this isn't just for AAA studios. The whole point is it's supposed to make this stuff easier for smaller devs as well. And like the point Mike Bethel was making is like it's really interesting because in film, the cheapest thing you can do in film is like two people having a conversation in a room. Whereas the most expensive thing you can do is like 100 cars crashing into each other. Whereas in games, it's the other way around. It's quite, it's relatively easy to get a load of physics objects to smash into each other. Whereas two characters with like convincing, graphics and voices, etc., is really expensive and really hard to do. And what this is trying to do is flip that and make it the same, like the way around it is with films. And part of the way they're doing that is by supplying all these assets as well that developers can use, which is interesting. But it's like, so what, are we going to have to get really used to seeing games set in this one city? Do you know what I mean? Like there's reused assets. Like, is it still going to be that like, those sort of, supplied assets are useful for kind of filling in sort of background details, but never actually anything we're really going to look at. That stuff all still has to be handcrafted. So it's just this is what my takeaway from it, right? This is what I got out of it. Not so much what are the next big AAA games going to look like, because I think they're going to be wildly different in the way they're constructed. Those games use their own engine. They don't use Epic. Some do. Don't get me wrong. But I think that this is more of an indication of, right, how can we make things easier? So when I watched the Digital Foundry interview, it was very much like this was all like you just put car here, car there, or whatever, and it can do all that stuff at that volume that quickly without the insane amount. And street furniture and stuff, that was all auto-generated from existing assets and stuff like that, right? So it feels like that the advantage of the Epic engine and what this proves is that you can do things quicker, and that if smaller budgeted games can take advantage of this engine to make their games look better. And that's what Unreal Engine 3 did, right? When Unreal Engine 3 come out, all of a sudden a bunch of slightly smaller developers and even some indie developers took advantage of that engine to cut costs, make games look of a higher standard with a lower budget, right? And I think this is what this engine... This is my takeaway from what I played. I mean, it was incredibly impressive looking. How that translates to an actual game, I'm not so sure.
but what the stuff that they were presenting was like, I can see a huge benefit in development, like in terms of saving money, in terms of out the end product looking way better than it originally would have if you were using, I suppose, another engine.
I'm saying, maybe like, so what do we need to get used to all games being set in this one place? But then if it's big enough, is that a problem?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, maybe that means there's plenty of spaces where, you could just sort of enclose a section of it and set your game entirely in that or whatever. It's, yeah.
But I'm sure people will be taking these bits and doing a lot with them and changing things around them. I don't think it's going to be like exactly the same, is it? I'm
sure the Unreal Engine is very much like, these are assets for this type of setting, but then there'll be ones for other types of settings or whatever. A rock is a rock. Do you really need to spend development time? Map scaling rocks and stuff when you've got an engine that can do it for you.
They should have given some trees to 343, eh?
They should have, mate. They fucking should have. Good shout,
Thank you.
I spent a surprising amount of time driving around the city, even though the handling was rubbish. But just to look at how impressive everything was, and flying above the city, I loved even the simple things such as the way the audio changed depending on the height.
Yeah, the real-time audio.
If you were really ground level, obviously you heard all the beeping and stuff with the traffic and the people. And then as you get really high up, where the highest towers were, you just had wind and this and that. I thought that was a really clever.
Go super high up, and you can hear a grunt saying, "This is a big day for me." It's crazy. I'll say this, right, Matt. I don't know if you're like that. I'm pretty sure you think like I do with this. I'm almost certain there's some mad puzzle within that city somewhere to break you out of the Matrix. Like there's a cutscene or something.
I know that there's a bunch of kind of things you can go around and look on the map. There's like those points. And I was like, what are these? Is there something I can collect? And there's like, when you go towards those points, there's like these like green, it looks like kind of Matrix type stuff. And they're often like little like plimps where there's like facts saying, hey, there's like 15,000 buildings in the city. Can you find the tallest one? And I found the tallest one. It's like, hey, this is the tallest building. It's 7,000, But I thought there could be something hidden in that city. Yeah,
there's going to be something in there that's going to come out in like
it's
2
big
months'
enough as well
time.
that they could hide something that I want someone to. If you go to his phone booth, actually you can. Because I tried to go into buildings or at least go into like there's little kind of alleyways you can go in. I was like, is one of these going to allow me to actually walk into the building? I wouldn't surprise me.
Someone's broken it already. Someone's walked over to an area you're not supposed to go in. But it was, you could tell it wasn't intentional. Like, they found a way of walking on the water and then walked over to one of those distant cities to just have a little look around, and you could tell it's just like a mess of boxes that you expect to see from these games. Or whatever,
like obviously you can't go in. Can you go in any of the buildings? I assume not.
It doesn't seem like it, no.
But the sort of obviously sort of automatically generated sort of interiors through windows.
Yeah.
I love
those. Like a shop with no door into it with shelves on every wall. I love those things.
But like, I think this is maybe this is just me, but this is the first time I've seen that done where it's like consistent across several windows. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it was in Spider-Man on PS4. You'd look in like one window and you'd see like an interior. It's like, oh, okay, the room like extends off in this direction, and then you go to the next window and no, it doesn't. Like, it doesn't physically make sense. They don't, they're not consistent. Which, it's a stupid thing to care about. Like, who cares? But it was just interesting to see that, like, oh no, they've thought about that here, and like it is actually, you can go across several windows. Like, yep, this is this bit of this room, this is the next bit of this room, and then this is the next bit, and then there it ends, and then now the next room, and it was just interesting. I mean, it might have sounded like I was moaning before. I did really like this. It is super impressive.
Also what's interesting is that like the initial kind of cut scenes where it's just like Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves, and I think in cutscenes in like the car chase, they're actually only 24 frames because to try and make it more cinematic.
Yeah, okay.
But I did feel it did feel quite jarring for it only to be 30 frames during like the main thing, which I get, but I guess use the 60 frame games. But I was so impressed when that first section come in and you're like, I can't actually walk around the city, can I? I can. I can't actually get into a car. No, I can get into a car.
That was a big
surprise
fly. For me,
I can fly above the city. Yeah, I was super impressed. I think I'll go back and play more. Just
I want to go back and take photos.
Yeah,
it's.
I need to do some more exploring because I've only played it a little bit, and I need to.
I was going to say,
I've seen some amazing photos. I mean, any kind of budding digital photographer, any kind of photographer or a video game photographer, this is like a whole like playground for you to go around and create some amazing shots. It just looks so good anyway. But then obviously what some people are doing with like bokeh effects and this, that, and the other, yeah, it looks it's super, super impressive. And what's really cool, I want to see more of these kind of cool demos being put out. They're not a game, but we can go in and explore them and be impressed with what they're trying to show us. Because I know like the previous two Unreal Engine 5 demos, they were like videos, and I watched them. They were cool and impressive to watch, but actually being able to go into this one, it was something else.
Plus it's like,
super, super impressive.
I guess if you've got a new console for Christmas as well, and you want to download the first thing that's going to make you go, holy shit, the previous generation could not do this. This is probably the answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. This was definitely a super next generation.
And by the way,
cool,
fucking works on the Series S. Like, it's absolutely ludicrous. I mean, yeah, the frame rate is what it is. And you can see where like some corners have been cut, certainly, but yeah, Jesus, it fucking works.
It's free.
It is also free.
Download it. Download it. Right, okay. That's what we've been playing this week. We all know what is coming up next.
Do you know, my heart just did like an extra beat.
It's the GOTY draft. It is the GOTY draft. And we are going to pick 12 games and an additional 4 games for our wild card. Oh my god, I am actually quite nervous. Right, I need to bring up my list.
Yeah, I feel sick.
Let's gather ourselves.
Can we just do it?
Let's get
I feel horrible.
Okay. So should I just call the order out all at once, or should I do it one at a time? I'll do it one at a time.
Right,
I'll do it one at a time.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Open up my glasses case. I put them in there. They've been in there the whole time. The first person that gets to pick a game. And we don't do it fairly. We don't do it back and forth. This is the order. First person is Matt.
Interesting.
What is your first game, Matt?
You go Metroid Dread.
Fucking.
Okay. Next person. We don't discuss the nominations either. New listeners.
Or old listeners.
Me. I'm going to go Death's Door. I'm typing these out as well because I know I'll forget. Next person to get to choose a game. It's James Farley.
Right, I am last every year. We've joked about this before, yeah? I'm just saying.
Well, sorry.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying we're going to get emails. That's all. Go on.
Okay, James.
It Takes Two.
Sure.
Hitman 3.
Okay. Right. So there's some 4 strong games out the hat already, and I think we're gonna have to delete some games off our list already.
This is annoying. I've been cut down quite badly.
Matt. See, Sean, what's interesting is that I wanted to go towards the end on this one.
Yeah. Swap if you want.
Yeah, because I think I wanted some obvious ones out of the way.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can choose some. Yeah.
I'm going to go for Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury.
Okay. Okay. I don't know which way to go next. I'm going to go Halo Infinite. James.
I'm going Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. Yep, Sean.
Sea of Thieves.
Okay. Matt.
So I'm just writing down.
We're not talking about it. We're not talking about it.
No. Respect the process.
I'm just writing down the 20. I'm writing down Sea of Thieves. Okay. I'm going to go with.
Oh, don't do this again, Matt. Fucking.
I've got a big old list. I have to think.
So many on my list have been taken out. This is mad.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go Deathloop.
Deathloop. I'm going to go The Artful Escape. James?
I'm going to go, it's a VR game. I'm going for Zombieland Headshot Fever. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm going to do that.
Well, now that's just mean.
Yeah, but could you imagine if James did his passive-aggressive speech like he did with Detroit? In fact, actually, Matt, I'm very surprised you haven't nominated.
I mean,
nominated.
surely, James, you should have put it as your wild cards. Then Matt would have to campaign against it.
Yeah. Look, we can't do that for obvious reasons. We can't have that game. You know, Matt's been working on it, so let's advertising. Go on, go on.
Okay, I'm going to go for Psychonauts 2.
Okay.
How many have I got left? How many have I still got to do?
You got one and a wild card.
Oh shit! I need to find another game because I've got to run out.
Sure. Well, we've all got one to pick, so whatever's left on your list might get taken in a minute. Go on, Sean.
Toem.
Sorry?
Toem. Toem.
We're doing that, are we? Okay. Matt.
Forza Horizon 5.
Good game, that, isn't it? So where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Oh, God. Oh, no. You've all surprised me a bit, actually. Matt, I'm surprised, has picked Bowser's Fury. I thought I had that one.
That was on my list as well, just in case.
Yeah.
I think I forgot that was this year. It's the whole fucking COVID timey-wimey
Sean,
effect.
Hitman 3. Well, that was high up on my list. I'm fuck it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, was it?
Well, console this year, I think that's valid. I mean, I picked Sea of Thieves, so I can't say shit.
No, you can't. James.
Chicory.
Okay. Sean.
Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Right, it's wildcard time, and
This is a big problem.
This is a big problem.
We go in reverse order.
Shit.
So, Sean, let's hear your wild card.
Fuck. Oh, I'm doing a Matt Murray.
Why are you all doing some
Thinking.
product you don't need?
Do you know, I'm going to go for Wonder Putt Forever.
Okay. James.
See, the game that I've just thought of. What year? We're in 2021, aren't we? Damn, I can't choose that one. That's a shame. That is a shame.
You've had to choose
I don't know. All of the games that I had have now gone. This is really difficult. No, I don't want to know. I was going to say Ratchet and Clank, but I don't want to because I don't believe in it at all. I've got like nothing with that. Oh, I don't know what to choose. This is horrible.
I mean, is there anything that you know you should play that you haven't played this year that you can go out on a limb and?
So that's why Halo Infinite was going to be mine. I was going to, but then Dave had more courage than me and has actually like gone for it.
Mate, I'm having an operation tomorrow. I'm going to be in bed for a week. That game is getting done. Metroid Dread was supposed to be the game that I played in bed for a week, but I've already finished that now, so...
Okay, I'm going to... Okay, last stop. There you go.
Oh,
right.
Good shout. Fucking hell, yeah, good shout. I'm torn between two. So, I'm going to go with Life is Strange True Colors.
Mm-hmm.
Matt.
I've got a bunch on my list.
Oh, fuck off.
Pick
Matt.
one of
Just
them.
pick a wild card.
I'm going to go with Resident Evil Village.
I could hear you smirking as you said that.
Yeah.
So, what all your lists gone then? All of you?
No, I've got
mine's
more.
totally gone. Yeah.
What was on your list? Well, they've not made it, so it's fine to talk about those. What nearly
Final
made it
Fantasy
and
VII
didn't?
Remake Intermission DLC, which I thought was excellent. Ratchet and Clank was on there. I mean, I didn't really truly believe in it. Fantasian, which is that Apple Arcade game made by the guy who made, or the team who made Final Fantasy. Originally, I thought that was fantastic, the first part. And Lake was on there.
Well, I had two that didn't make it: Knockout City and Rocket League Sideswipe. But I thought, although I loved Rocket League Sideswipe, I thought there's no point in putting it as a wild card. You know what I mean? It's not gonna get any sort of listener vote for that. So Matt, so the 4 games that are the wild cards that our listeners get to vote on is Life is Strange True Colors, Wonder Pup Forever, Resident Evil Village, and Last Stop. I'm kind of gutted, actually, James. I'm kind of gutted that Last Stop didn't make your list there, because I'd love to have spoken about that game again. There was a lot to like about that. Apart from the ending, actually.
Exactly.
That's
the problem
about the ending. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, I've now got a lot of games to play in space of...
Well, which ones?
Well, I need to play more Wonder Pup Forever. I played a little tiny bit of that.
Sea of Thieves?
I played that about 2017. I'm fine.
It's basically the same.
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy, James, you said, don't worry, mate, it's probably not going to be part of the game of the year. Now, I fucking should have bought it. I didn't realise it was going to be part of the game of the year conversation.
What I do need to do is add Sea of Thieves, the Pirates of the Caribbean DLC next to it. I think I'm going to add that next to it, Sean.
Just you wait, Dave. Just you wait and see what happens.
Hang on. This game, is it Wonder Putt?
Yes.
Yeah, Wonder Putt. I've been playing it.
It's one of the Netflix games.
I heard it as Wonder Pup, and I just Googled it, and I was like, Wonder Pup Forever.
Yeah.
What is that?
What, the golf game? The golf game.
I'm a huge fan of Wonder Pup.
Mentioned it was a golf game last week.
I thought it was something to do with a dog.
You were talking about it last week, James.
I thought it was something to do with a dog.
Well, no, it's a golf.
I did explain that it's a mini golf game, James.
I know, but no. I just thought this is another
I
Sean
thought it was
indie
like a
game that I've
dog
never
with a
heard
cape and a mask who has a little golf club, and he's
Right. Okay. Right. So that's our list. Our official list is in order of the person that picked them: Death's Door, Halo Infinite, The Artful Escape, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, Hitman 3, Sea of Thieves, The Pirates of the Caribbean DLC, Toem, Hot Wheels Unleashed, Metroid Dread, 3D World Bowser's Fury, Deathloop, Forza Horizon 5, It Takes Two, Guardians of the Galaxy, Psychonauts 2, and Chicory. They're our 12 games. The wildcards, as I've mentioned, is Life is Strange True Colors, Wonder Pup Forever. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's 16 games. Sorry. I've said 12 games all show, I think. 16 games. Of course there is. Sorry. My mistake. Life is Strange True Colors, Wonder Pup Forever, Resident Evil Village, and Last Stop. They're the wildcards. What happens with the wildcard games, Matt?
So there will be a Google form which we'll be putting out around midday on Wednesday. So this podcast comes out on Wednesday. So 12 o'clock today, if you listen on Wednesday, there will be a tweet to a Google form. Go on there, cast your vote, and forever hold your peace. That form will be live. That survey will be live from midday on Wednesday to midday on Saturday. And Saturday night is when we will be recording the Computer Game Show's Game of the Year podcast. So you have 3 days to cast your vote. Choose one of them that David just mentioned, and they will go in as the wild card to be added to one of our fours, one of our original four, and it's a case of arguing who has to lose one of theirs for the wild card to get in there.
Yep. So the winner goes into that final knockout stage. The other 3 get dashed, and one of our 12 games will be removed and replaced with 16. Fucking hell. One of our 16 games will be removed and replaced with the wildcard game. And that person who chose that wildcard game is immune from having any of theirs removed. We're keeping that rule, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, why not?
I think that adds to it. I think that adds to the anger.
Yeah.
A little bit of spice.
So any of theirs removed in round 1, you mean?
Not round 1, is it? Pre-round 1.
Yeah, pre-round, yeah, I've got, yeah.
No,
exactly.
it just means one of yours won't be supplanted with the wild card, basically, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Right, okay. Game of the Year show next week. It's happening. And I'm more nervous now than I was before the draft, I think.
Yeah.
Some interesting information come out then.
So the GOTY show is out Wednesday the 22nd. They'll be out in all your usual places from around 5 a.m. on that UK time on that morning. So Wednesday 22nd is when the GOTY pod will be out. We're recording it on the Saturday previous, but that does not mean it's coming out early. It's coming out on the Wednesday 22nd, so look forward to it.
Cool. All right. Are we doing questions or are we done?
We've got one.
I think we should, because I did say, hey, this is probably your last chance because this is the last regular episode of the year. So we should probably do a question.
I was going to do one, which is about what's the criteria for getting your questions read out.
Meta.
I mean, it's not even any point directing people to the form, is there? Let's face it. Because next week's going to be an absolute disaster.
There's going to be an awful lot of feedback, so they can go to the form if they want.
There is. True. Fiona Bruce has written in saying, Dear TCGS cohabitors, please may you explain the criteria for your questions segment of the show. I've written in a few times with general questions about games and life with games, most recently about 3 weeks ago, but for reasons unknown they've not been asked or answered on the show. I never miss an episode of the pod, and I'm a Patreon supporter as I love everything you four do, so I want to get involved, hence why I submit questions. If you can help explain the criteria for questions or why some may not be answered, that would help me. Cheers for the great times.
It's really hard, right? Because Adam Buxton put a podcast out this week where he basically gave a list of rules of what to do and what not to do. And it's like, firstly, it just sounded awful.
Yep.
Please keep to these subjects. And he did it in a jokey way and it was light-hearted, but also you knew there was some truth behind it.
Yep.
Keep it to 2 sentences, preferably. You know, all this sort of stuff. And also, the fact that I think if we do that, we're going to get a bunch of very similar emails, and I like the fact that sometimes we get a quite long one that we can get into. And
stuff that's not getting read out. It's often just because we kind of run out of time. Often,
that is the main factor.
Reason.
If you feel like you're writing in and none of your stuff's getting read out, please. I know it must be disappointing, but please don't ever take it personally. I don't think there's anyone I ignore outright. What
the guy called the guy who calls himself Fuck David?
Oh yeah,
you don't ignore
obviously.
him outright.
I mean, that doesn't even.
You should probably ignore him outright.
He's one of my favourite correspondents.
But yeah, it's 90% of the time it's down to us running out of time as we get towards the end of the episode. It can just be that there's nothing wrong with the question. I feel like I have a fairly decent sense now of when I know it's going to be one that we all just sort of don't really have a funny answer for. Or
that they've been asked.
Or that's been asked before.
Previously,
it sometimes we'll revisit. If it's been a year or so since a regular question has come in, we might do it again if I think it's worth revisiting. But yeah, unfortunately, the short answer is it varies week by week. But yeah, please do not take it personally. And like Dave says, if you start, if I was to start giving out rules now, everyone who's loads of people who've sent feedback or questions in will now realise that they've been falling foul of said invisible rules and then being like, oh great, did he think I was a cunt? No, probably not.
It's true. Don't start the email with hello, my name is Scientologist. Never do that. That's rule 1.
Yeah, never
Sorry,
get
Ben.
read out.
It's the first name that come into my head. I apologise.
I mean, if you can keep it short, that definitely helps. Like we do, like people do send us some like huge essays sometimes, and it's like, look, this is literally going to be like the entire feedback section if we read it out or whatever. But I mean, other than that, just keep trying, and I promise we don't like victimize anyone or exclude anyone on purpose. You probably haven't been sending bad questions in. That's it.
Right. Okay. We're done.
And to be clear, there were like 2 other perfectly good questions sat there, but it's 11:30 and my wife's out tonight, so I'm on morning duties on my own. So I need to get to bed. So there you go. There's the criteria.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks. Matt. Social. Sorry.
We're doing a few streams this week. Thursday the 6th. I'm actually have dates now because it's getting to the serious part of the year. Thursday 16th. That's this Thursday. Pico Bell is back. It's happening. Sean streaming Pico 8 games. That is obviously live on twitch.tv/TCGSco. There'll be no Dark Souls 2 on Friday. But actually, no, James, did you say previously, James, actually you could do it on Wednesday?
Yeah, can I do that? I'm going to do it on Wednesday instead.
Well,
so that'll be the 15th.
On the day this podcast comes out, there is a Dark Souls 2 stream happening. So look forward to that. Again, that'll be 9 p.m. UK time. That's Wednesday. That's tonight. Tomorrow, Thursday 16th, Pico Bell. And on Saturday, we're recording the GOTY pod.
They don't need to know we're recording it on the Saturday, though, right? We could. The GOTY pod's out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I feel like they might get something out of just knowing it's happening.
Yeah. So
you know
we're recording on Saturday,
scared.
out on Wednesday, the 22nd. That is it. We're also going to try and find a time to get In the Cuisining happening this month. Obviously, we have some technical troubles on the weekend, but that we will be doing that in the month of December. Undoubtedly, we will find time to do it. So In the Cuisining is happening. Yep. We haven't quite nailed down a time yet, but it will be happening. Again, apologies for patrons, but it's going to be happening. Look out on Patreon for a post around that. Dark Calls, obviously, is still happening every single Friday throughout Christmas into New Year. This Friday, it's the 22nd episode, and it's about the Archers, not the series, about those bastards, the Archers, and also James and David talk narrative games because they've played Her Story and Gone Home. That's a nice little aside in Dark Calls. If you have, if you have Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime Gaming, of course, back on the Twitch. A tip, please go over to our channel, give us your free monthly sub. We really, really appreciate it if you go over to our channel and give us your free one. So thank you for that if you're already doing it. And also, they don't renew, so please come back a month after that. Patreon.com/TCGS is our Patreon address for exclusive podcasts, talksovers. In the Cuisining is happening this year, of course, and tcgs.co is the website for links to our social channels, all our podcasts, our gorgeous Discord, and our store.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for living it. We will catch you next week, where you'll hear probably 3 to 4 hours of shouting.
Or 4 to 5 hours.
We'll catch you then. Nah.
I'm really
I
scared.
checked last year's was 4 hours, 22 minutes.
Okay.
I'm really scared. I'm already an hour ahead of you or whatever. It's just going to be
James,
awful.
just before we end this episode, James, what's the current thinking on the old drinking?
Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to drink because it just makes it just makes it more interesting, you know, for me anyway.
It's interesting.
I'm not going to do whiskey though. I think I'm just going to do beer.
Yeah, because obviously last time, James, you said, I've got whiskey and mixer, and then within 20 minutes we couldn't hear you unscrewing the bottle of Coke, so we knew there was no mixer.
I mean, he'll order a bit, but fuck knows what will turn up.
It's true.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Pepperoni pizza.
All right.
Or if anyone's got any recommendations for spirits here, then you can always let me know.
No, James, no spirits. James.
Bit of schnapps.
Spirits are the same, mate. With whiskey, vodka, I'm assuming, over there.
Yeah, no, but there might be some special different stuff, you know. I don't know.
Please no one DM James with recommendations.
Special different stuff.
Just keep it beers.
Or spirits.
We'll see you next week.
Just beers.
Take it easy.
Goodbye.
Cheerio.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Just beers, James.
Just beers.
Or spirits.
No, just beers.